Philadelphia. I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show.
Let's go! Happy. Good morning. Happy Football Friday to all across the Delaware Valley. Oh, the Friday. Love the Friday before the big game. There's nothing better than a football Friday. Looking ahead at a monster game on Sunday, 3 o'clock. Lincoln Financial Field. Weather. Divisional round. Eagles, Rams. This is the Anthony Gargano Show presented by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com to find the nearest store and pharmacy. So as the week goes, I'm sure you kind of feel the same way. But I've X'd and O'd this game 1,000 times. You know, they run the Sims. Like, we ran this computer model 10,000 times. Well, I do the same thing in my brain. I kind of just play it out. I don't know. It comes up Eagles every time. The only thing, because we're Philadelphians, we have this, I do. I have to be quite honest with you guys. I get worried when I'm not worried. It's the most ridiculous, nonsensical thing, but I fall into the same trap every week, right? I do. Last week played out, honestly, exactly the way I thought it would. I thought the Eagles would be sluggish on offense, but the Eagles' defense would win the game. I look at Sunday, and I see, quite frankly, double-digit victory. I see the Eagles' offense putting up maybe 30, high 20s. Like, I feel they're going to be in that realm, and I don't think the Rams could score anywhere near that. It plays out every which way. Look, I know the Rams front's good. It is. It's better. Like, they've gotten better as the season's gone on. You know, Verse and Fisk, right, and Kobe Turner, they're good. It's a really good line. It's also an undersized line, right? Like, they're small, fast guys. The Eagles' O-line is big. Like, Mekhi Becton, who we haven't talked about in a few weeks, is a beast. One of the best moves that they made all season, right, started in training camp, was putting Becton, first of all, signing Becton, and then putting him at guard after he played tackle for the Jets. Him at guard with Mailata is really imposing. You're just talking about girth, big, like, this line is so good that, yeah, I think the Rams front's very good. They'll probably play, probably get some pressure or whatever. But again, I go back to it. How are they going to stop Saquon Barkley in the Eagles' run game? And if I'm Kellen Moore, in between all his interviews, as I'm doing my game plan, I'm going to run the freaking ball. I know we talk about pass game. The pass game's got to be good. The pass game's got to be good. You know what? Run the ball. Run it. Right? Go in, put Jalen in the run game, and go impose your will. It's going to be ugly on Sunday, like really ugly. It's going to be snow. Like, every forecast now has changed to all snow. And I'm seeing what was once 1 to 3, now 3 to 5. So, it all depends the timing of the storm and when the snow starts, but it's probably going to be a snow game. Right? I mean, it's going to be that. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be cold. Run it. Run. Look, Saquon goes for 255, and I know 2 of them were on those 2 long runs in the second half. You got to tell me how that changes. Like, again, we talked to Baldy yesterday, right? And I asked him that question. Well, how does it change? They got to shed blocks. Right. There's nothing schematically that the Rams can do to get back and stop the Eagles' run game. So, all right, they got to shed blocks. All right, well, that's easier said than done when you're talking about this Eagles offensive line. And that's why I go back and I lean in on Jalen in the run game. I don't care if Jalen throws for 25 yards. It doesn't matter. Run it. They can't stop you. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be weather. It's cold. Again, this is a West Coast team. I keep going back to it. They played Monday night in Arizona. Got back to L.A. early Tuesday morning. There's all kinds of stuff going on, right? Family and worries and everything else that deals with the horrific fires in Los Angeles. You have all that. Then you got to get back to work, right? Like Wednesday's install day, the whole thing. And then now you got to fly here, and you're on a short. Eagles have over a day's advantage, like a day and a half advantage. They got the rest. They have game plan. Like, you name it. They have the advantage every which way. They're going to come here. It's going to be cold. The Eagles, the last 2 days, have practiced at Lincoln Financial Field outside. They're a bully team that embraces the cold. This is a Philadelphia's team, a dream team. We talk about dream team. This is our version of a dream team, a team that just imposes its will and plays bully. What's not to love? So I play the game out, and I go ahead. How are they going to stop you? How? I mean, you look at the Rams defense, and again, I talk about the front and how good the front is. Byron Young, Omar Spates, Roseboom, Christian Roseboom. Those are the linebackers. I mean, I don't see the Legion of Boom, Bobby Wagner days on that squad. Safeties, Curl, Kitchens. I mean, again, impose your will, run the ball, and you're going to win. I don't see, I have no sweat. Brad on Monday said it was his biggest bet of his playoffs. We talked to Baldy. We talked to, I don't know how many, Klecko. We got Danny on. We've had a million other guys on this week. Today we'll have Jason Avant on. And it all comes up birds. I don't see how it doesn't. I think we're headed. We'll be talking on Monday about a pretty, I don't want to say easy, but a flex win. 30-13, 30-16. I don't know. Somewhere around that mode. They're going to win by double digits. And it's like, all right, let's go. It's Eagles-Detroit. And we're going to be talking about an NFC Championship game, which will be highly entertaining and completely interesting. And I'm not looking past the Rams, but as I look at the game, I don't see the Eagles losing. I see the matchup. And that's the only thing that worries me. Because I lived through Tampa and the weather and, they're 32 degrees and the offense couldn't move the ball. But they didn't have that team in 2002. While they struggled in the air that day, they didn't have Saquon Barkley, right? Like they did. And the Tampa Bay defense was really good against the run. So, again, the only thing that worries me is that I'm not worried. Good morning, VJ.
That worries me. You're not worried. So I'm with your worry that you're not worried. I agree with that worry, if that makes any sense.
That makes perfect. Listen,
yes.
If you're a Philadelphian, that makes sense.
I mean, yeah. I'm a prone to anxiety and nerves and worry. So, yeah. I mean,
but yeah, last week you had that feeling.
Last week, I don't know. Last week it felt good because I don't trust. There's the intangible of McVay and Stafford. I respect them. So, other than that, it should be a slam dunk. The Eagles should
so
dominate.
You're really with me, right? Like you on the.
I am. It's going to take an amazing game plan by McVay and a perfect game by Stafford to beat this Eagles team.
Yeah,
and not in this bully weather.
In imperfect weather.
Yes. Yeah. So I feel
but
good.
If the game is out there, all right. Well, maybe I would feel a little differently.
So I want to get this picture though. I want to paint me this picture of the Gargano 5000 simulator. You just sit back with your eyes closed and run through it real quick. Yeah.
I had that in espresso, right?
Yes.
And so I make like 6 shots.
Yeah.
Just the espresso, right? Black, right?
Just espresso.
Yeah, 6 pods of espresso in a big cup mug.
Yeah.
It's a big giant.
Yeah.
It looks like a soup mug.
So it speeds up the simulations, all that caffeine. You run
Right.
through a game in
And
like
I just sit
3
there.
seconds.
I have a
All right,
notebook,
win.
right? Legal pad.
Win,
like I have.
win.
And I just sit there and I close my eyes
Oh, yeah.
and I go, Barkley.
Yeah, you're like a medium or a clairvoyant when they come to your house and they just close their eyes and the hand goes crazy. They can't control themselves.
He's on fast forward.
Yes. But if you guys think about it, how does that change? How does the Eagles' run dominance change?
They put 10 in the box. I don't know, and they leave people wide open.
Well, it's not like they didn't try to crowd the box that Sunday night. They tried to do it that night, and Saquon got free.
Yeah, well, I think we've talked with Baldy. You can't stop this run. I mean, that's what it feels like. I'm afraid to throw that out there because I don't want the football guys to see someone can stop it. But so far, we've seen no one able to slow it down, really.
Right. I mean, you want to say Green Bay slowed them down a little bit? Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think this Rams front's built to harass in the pass game.
Correct.
Right? Like, like we saw against Darnold.
Yeah.
It harassed Darnold. It was great.
And I don't know why
stunts.
the Vikings went away from the run game at all. I mean, Darnold's dropping back constantly and he's getting smoked. He's getting lit up every play. But this is bully weather. Like you talked about the girth. These guys and Stalin, they're built for this. This is what they're made. Like they got to be salivating at this weather.
I mean, how you not running over the right side?
Right. Yeah. It's a bulldozer all day long. If they don't come out with that game plan, I'm going to lose my mind. But that's got to be the game
It
plan.
has to be the game plan. Look, you got to have Jalen as a part of the run game. I keep going. How does it change?
I don't, like I said, it's got to be a magic act.
Like when we
McVay
took the
and
ball,
stuff.
right? The obvious is, well, now they're going to shed blocks. All right. You try to shed Michael Beck.
right. 340 pounds.
Yeah. Right? You try to do that. You try to shed the Eagles O-line that just wears on you, hangs on you.
Mm-hmm. They're the best in football. The second half should be, they just beat on them.
Exactly. Like, again, and this weather, like, they embrace it. Like, no, tell me this is not a Philadelphia dream.
And this weather that hurts. When you get the offensive line pounding on you, that stings in this weather.
Yes. It does.
I don't want you bounding into me outside in the parking lot. No, it stings.
So I look at it and I go, how does it, like, this has to be it.
Yeah, it's going to have to be, like I said, McVay comes out with 47, like, half the lines in motion, running around, and total confusion.
All that stuff, right?
But if they put up points, then it's going to, you're going to have to go toe-to-toe with them if they can put up points in this defense. I don't think they'll be able to scheme that.
And here's the other thing, like, it's going to be wet, cold, right?
It's going to be perfect.
Right, exactly.
Perfect.
Like, how do you fear the Rams? You fear the Rams because of their I'm just talking about in general.
No,
like
it just
team.
doesn't even sound right. You fear the Rams.
Fearing the Ramily.
That feels fake.
Yeah,
the
Fear the
Ramily.
Rams.
Yeah, no. When you think about the Rams offense, let's show the respect, right? You go. Agreed. McVay's terrific at coming up with a game plan.
Mm-hmm.
I love Nakua. He's terrific. Kupp is not what he was. Kyron Williams is good. I know Baldy loves him. I think he's more of a B plus back. He's not an A back. All right, like Higbee's going to play.
Like,
I mean, he's not exactly.
I don't think it's going to be the skill of these
Mark
players
Andrews,
that do damage if damage is done. I think it's going to be a game plan in motion.
Yeah, like I love Stafford and all, but again, this isn't weather where you're going to pass. Like where you have a seamless pass game.
I think he's going to pass.
Well, right, but this isn't the weather to do that. To like they went down the field on the Eagles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the first 2 drives.
Yep.
But like it was beautiful night, right? It's in Southern California, and that
Beautiful
dome,
SoFi
right?
dome.
The whole
Yeah.
thing, and it's there's a rhythm that you can get throwing the ball.
Yeah.
Perfect conditions, right? This isn't that rhythm weather.
Very true. There's
and
a picture.
again, you're playing against a great defense.
Can I just want to say, it's just because it's in my head. Jared Verse he's trying to beat us to the heel moment now. Coming out saying how bad he hates Philadelphia fans and we're the worst and annoying.
It's all right.
I like it. We're the heel. I don't want that.
They
What do you
have
mean?
no heel vibes.
He's
The
trying to
Rams have
create
no
some
heel
stuff,
vibes.
which also I think it makes me feel like they're scared. Like he's trying to throw stuff out there because he's a
I
little
don't think he's
nervous.
scared. I don't think he's nervous. I think he's a dude that just goes, those people are a-holes here.
Well,
Right?
he's
Like, you know, like, listen,
he was-
Eagle fans went over and talk over Los Angeles like they always do. So if you're a player on the Rams, you're like, look at these MFers come in here, right, and take it over my stadium.
And they're saying they said mean things to him.
Yeah, well, you know, this is what this is what we are. We're mean.
We're mean.
Right? Like, all right. But like, I don't think he's scared. I just think, whatever. But you know where we have this conversation? He's from here.
Well, I was looking it up. He's from Bloomsburg, which is right out, like a little outside Wilkes-Barre. So he's equidistant, basically, between New York City and Philadelphia.
No, but that's Eagles country, no?
Wilkes-Barre? I don't know. I've
Wilkes-Barre.
never spent any time in there other than driving through.
I think that's Eagles. It's too close. It's Eagles country.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
he's a self-hater?
I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. But either which way.
Sounds like a Cowboys fan, maybe.
Probably.
Mhm.
We'll have to call up a couple coffee shops over there and see what they root for. You know, you got to see who they root for over there. So
Where? In Wilkes-Barre?
Wilkes-Barre, yeah.
That's, dude, that's our
Coffee shop.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like a lot of the sports guys hang out at the coffee
couple
shop.
coffee shops or
There we go.
restaurants.
Yeah.
He's drinking
Welcome
all the
to,
espresso, so you know they must love coffee. These football guys.
Welcome to Brew.
Latte Larry.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, this is Latte Larry. So, yeah, who do you guys root
Latte
for?
Larry's. We don't root for football teams. All right, lots to get to. Joining us right now, brought to us by Valley Forge Tourism. It's the Locker Room Report. Zachariah Z. Berm.
Hey, good talking. I'm thinking now, you know, I've done a number of those man on the street stories where you go to a player's hometown or a coach's hometown and they send me to the sports bar and the diner. Haven't gone to the coffee shops. Got to try those
course.
out to try to, yeah, that's
What
where
lunatic would
yeah.
send you to a coffee shop? Frazier.
Yeah. Remind us not to have Frazier as the assignment editor.
I love it. Hey, that's where you got to, you know, you need to go where the other guys aren't, right?
Yeah.
So I'll go to the coffee shop next time.
I want you to go to the ballet, and I want you to find out who to root for. All right? We'll rate you a tux. Zachariah, I got to tell you, I started the show. I don't know if you heard any of it, but I have played this game out several times. And
Several thousand.
yes, I don't see it. I don't see how the Eagles lose. I hate saying it like that, but I don't know how the Rams stop the Eagles' run game. Forget the pass game. We have spent entirely too much time talking about the pass game. I don't care if Jalen throws for 7 yards. They can run the ball all day and win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you on the running part of it. Saquon, the game he had last time he played against the Rams, that wasn't by accident. It wasn't as if the Rams weren't trying to stop the run. You probably recall Sean McVay, halftime interview, says they got to get a stop here. They got to stop Saquon. Saquon goes for the big gain right there. Yeah, I mean, I think the Eagles can run on them. I don't like the Rams linebackers. I don't like the Rams defensive front.
No.
That said, the one thing I'll say, and I'll defer to you guys on this, but you know, when you talk to people about playing in the snow, they say snow is a neutralizer, and it tends to favor the less talented team.
Right.
And the Rams are the less talented team here. So if this is a muddied up game, you know, wonky things could happen.
Mutters. They're
That's
mutters.
true.
They're
That's
mutter
true.
bleepers. They
but you know,
this is who they are, right? They run the ball. Like, that's where the distinct advantage comes. Usually, you're right. Inclement weather will ground the passing attack. And usually, the more talented team has the better quarterback and the better pass game, the better receivers. But this Eagle team runs the ball. And I like the Rams front, but the Rams front's built to attack the passing game. It's not built to hold up against a run game like this.
You are correct. I just mean in terms of turnover variance,
Yes.
players slipping, like
Yes.
it can neutralize two teams or equalize two teams
Sure.
a bit. So I don't know what the weather's going to be out there. I don't know what the footing is going to be out there. But I'm curious to see if that's a factor. The best game the Eagles played this year, the absolute best game, was against the Rams. They were outstanding on offense. I thought they were real tough on defense after those opening drives. I think, you just look at the intangibles here. The Eagles have an extra day rest compared to the Rams. The Rams are traveling cross country after playing on a neutral field. Like, everything you look at in this game says the Eagles should win, but it's a one game in the playoffs.
Ding, ding, ding. Everything, every intangible, every X and every O says the Eagles are going to win. And that's the only thing that worries me.
Yeah. That's a fair point. Like, if you say, what am I missing here? Or is there I don't want to say the overconfidence thing, but the nobody believes in us card from the Rams. Like, you never know how that factors into it. But if you just look at this game and not even just on paper, if you look at this game on film, like the Eagles are the better team. They've been better all year. They were better when they played against each other. I think they're going into this game. They're going into this game with a better roster, with every intangible. So I like the Eagles. I'm just, it's a one game playoff in January, basically.
Yeah.
I got some quotes. Jeff Schwartz, he played 8 years offensive lineman. He's quoted an article about the snow. And he's like, I know no one cares about the big fellas, but playing in the snow for an offensive lineman is awesome. Those DLs can't move very well in that snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Advantage, birds.
Yes. No.
Big advantage.
Like, that's a huge, huge advantage. You remember the Buffalo? Zach, you'll remember this. A couple years ago, 2 years ago, Cincinnati, Buffalo. In Buffalo. And Cincinnati wins the game. Why? Because they controlled the line of scrimmage. The Bills' defensive front, which was good, Von Miller, the whole thing, they couldn't get any footing, right?
Yeah.
And so we saw Burrow, easy, clean pocket in the snow. Again, with this Eagles offensive line, God, like bad footing. Oh my God, it's every advantage. I mean, God, it should be a double-digit sweat-free Sunday.
Yeah, it's actually interesting you say that, because I remember back 2013, the snow game here, obviously Eagles Lions, and one thing that the skill guy said is that that people think you shouldn't pass in the snow, but it really favors the offense because the corners can't change direction. They're backpedaling, they can't set their feet. Like, so much of that position is planting and setting your feet, and you can't really do that if you're a corner in the snow. So, yeah, I mean, it could be advantageous for AJ, it could be advantageous for Devontae. Now, I did hear Andrew Whitworth say that he actually thinks that the Rams are better suited to play the Eagles in the snow in Philly than in SoFi, just because of, like, what it kind of does at the line of scrimmage, and it uglies up the game, if you will.
Yeah, well, Andrew Whitworth is
he's a Ram. That's fair. He's a Ram. He also saw what Saquon did, obviously, and what the Eagles did when they went out to SoFi. And if this game was in SoFi, that would be a home game too. So
but again, I keep going back to how does the Rams run defense change? Like, how does what we saw that Sunday night change? I asked the question of Baldy. But, well, you got to shed blocks. All right, good luck. Good luck. Shed Becton, a block from Becton.
Yeah, look, I think it's more they could have 9 guys in the box, right? They could bring both their safeties up and be like, we're gonna see if Jalen Hurts can beat us through the air. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I imagine they're gonna try to commit themselves to making sure Saquon doesn't beat them. But you heard what Saquon said this. I'm sorry, you heard what Jalen said this week. Every team's tried to do that, and really outside of the Cleveland Browns, no one's really been able to stop Saquon.
No, you can't. I'm telling you, the best move all year long, and you and I talked about this early in training camp, was Mekhi Becton.
Yeah,
Dude,
you're right.
I mean, having Mekhi Becton, like it's basically one side is double tackle, right? It's double beast.
Yeah, I mean you don't see guards like him, obviously, and I've heard Lane Johnson say this that when he gets his hands on you, it's the defensive lineman can't do anything at that point. You have these D tackles who are used to facing, a 6'3" guard, and now you have this 6'7" guard with 35+ inch arms, and he strikes, he gets his hands out on you. There's nothing they can do in that spot. So Mekhi's been a revelation in there.
Yeah, really, really. I mean, him, Lane, like go ahead, go try. Like that's why I keep going. I go, how does that change? And I don't think it changes.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question about Kellen Moore, because he's now interviewing for 3 jobs, right? The Cowboys, the Jaguars, the Raiders.
No, the Saints. The Cowboys, Jags, the Saints. Yep.
So what's the talk down there about Kellen?
Yeah. I asked Kellen about the Cowboys job this week. He acknowledged he spent 8 years there, knows a lot of people in the building. I've spoken or heard from people who've said that they think Kellen's the front runner there. So I would pay close attention to it. Now there's I know Eagles fans are worried about divided attention. I can tell you anecdotally, by Friday afternoon, the hay is in the barn, so to speak. It's not as if teams are putting the game plan together. There are walkthrough Saturdays. There's a walkthrough and meetings on Saturday. I'll find out today, kind of how he's navigating the time there. But it's
That's
not
the
as if
overblown story. I got to tell
Yeah.
you.
I agree.
I couldn't care less.
It's the most ridiculous story in the world. It really is, because you're not game planning on Friday.
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah.
Walkthroughs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The install
Like-
date's Wednesday.
Right.
You game
Work's
plan
done.
up. You're
Yeah.
That's why Sunday night for coaches. There's a reason why Monday's treatment, Tuesday's an off day for players, because the coaches are spending 2 days game planning film, drawing up the game plan, and then you install it on Wednesday.
Yeah, like in as a beat reporter, if there's ever a coach that you need to talk to, the best time is Friday afternoon, right? Because
Yes.
Friday afternoons when their stuff's basically done for the week. The coaches who sleep in their office say, they see their family on Friday afternoon. So I wouldn't. I agree that's overblown. If this was on Tuesday, that would be more of a question. That's when, like you said, the Eagles put their game plan together. But this is not a game planning day. But I do think, like, big picture for the Eagles, if Kellen gets that job, you're looking at Jalen Hurts having another year with another offensive coordinator, with another play caller, right? So it does change things. But that's next week's story or next month's story, right? But yeah, I do think I would definitely pay attention to Kellen Moore with the Cowboys, maybe more so than with the Saints and the Jags.
I wanted to ask you guys, like, as Eagle fans, I know you're a professional writer, but as someone who's a fan of the Birds or was, like, I don't mind losing Kellen. I actually like Kellen to the Cowboys because I don't think he's the greatest mind in the shed. So, I mean, he's fine if he goes. I don't think he's super creative. I've never, like, been a fearful of a Kellen Moore offense. And to your point about Jalen, it would be like his 4th coordinator in 4 years or whatever, but we're just running. I mean, it's a pretty simple offense. It doesn't seem really a complex offense they're running. So I wouldn't mind. I hope they hire hope the Cowboys hire Kellen.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting the offense to look a little different than it has this year. Obviously, they made that adjustment post-bye. Kellen's adapted to his personnel, but as far as working with Jalen, I haven't seen as much as I expected, and I frankly think that's probably more on Jalen than on Kellen. But I do know Kellen Moore is well regarded by the Cowboys. He spent eight years there. Jerry Jones has been fond of him since he was a backup quarterback. Jerry Jones made sure Mike McCarthy kept him when McCarthy got that job. The Cowboys have spoken about this before. He has a close relationship with Dak Prescott. There's a lot of reasons to think that Kellen Moore would be the top candidate in Dallas.
Yeah, where's Dion though? I mean, is still
Yeah.
I'm still like to me, I still think Dion is the guy gets that gig. I
Yeah.
would be surprised if it's Kellen. I think it's
Okay.
I think Dion is going to be. It's just that
Yeah, I
makes
mean-
so much sense.
If they want Dion and Dion wants it, then I agree with you. Now, if it comes down to whether Dion's trying to get more money out of Colorado, I know there's a buyout involved with Colorado, but yeah, Dion would make a lot of sense for sure.
I mean,
And the only thing,
let's take it from his standpoint. I mean, Colorado's a nice story, but ultimately,
yeah,
I think it's a tough place to win. Right? You're going to lose your kid. Right?
Yeah.
You're losing Travis Young. Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer that he would go to
Oh,
Dallas.
yeah.
Right? Now, would Dallas want Dion?
sure.
Right? Well, you bring a lot of high profile. You bring a lot of cred. I don't know what kind of XO man he is, right? But you get a couple good coordinators. He's certainly a charismatic figure as a coach, right? Like he can talk to players. He can get players rallied. I mean, Colorado was good, except they just didn't have the D line and the O line to compete at that level.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to your point there, first off, if you're thinking about the Jerry Jones reality show, Dion is a much more compelling figure than Kellen Moore. The charisma, the attention. I mean, Dallas becomes the biggest story in football the day they hire Deion Sanders, right? Number one. Number two, and I know our friends at DNVR won't like to hear this, but the Cowboys job is so much better than the Colorado job every single day of the week, right?
Yeah.
It's the Dallas Cowboys.
It's not like it's Michigan, Ohio State,
Yeah.
Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, 100%. But the thing you mentioned about the coordinators, that's the big question here. I think what would be in Kellen Moore's favor is that if you say, all right, you just paid Dak Prescott X, and he's your franchise quarterback, and you need the coach who's going to maximize Dak Prescott. Dak and Kellen Moore have a long history together. And if you bring in Dion, you have to say, all right, who's your offensive coordinator? What's your offensive scheme? If you bring in Kellen Moore, you kind of know what that looks like. You have that relationship with Dak Prescott. The advantage, what's going in Kellen Moore's favor is the relationship with Dak Prescott. But from a Jerry Jones, what brings the biggest story? No doubt Deion Sanders.
Yeah. I'm with you, man. I'm completely with you. All right. Inside, health-wise, everybody good. What I keep thinking about what I love about where they're at is there's no drama. There's nothing. Like it's just like their health looks good. They just feel very buttoned up to me right now.
Yeah, Dallas Goedert has an illness, so presuming it's not something serious, he'll be back Sunday. AJ Brown's dealing with the knee. It's something he's dealing with. He'll be on the field today at practice. He'll be out there on Sunday, but the knee is something he's dealing with. As far as I don't think anyone's going to be questionable or doubtful. I don't think anyone on the 53 is going to be out. Obviously, the big injury happened last week with N'Kobe. They have to figure out the linebacker situation, but they're going to have a healthy 53-man roster going into this game.
Yeah, I think that's huge.
Hey, if anyone hasn't read, Zach did a great piece on Nolan Smith and his
thank you.
port worker mentality, and he actually has his transportation worker identification credential card with him still, and how he brings that mentality, and he doesn't it keeps him kind of grounded and realizing how lucky he is to be where he is. It was a great piece, Zach.
I appreciate the plug. Yeah, I hope people check that out. I gotta say, I never felt more ignorant or naive in an interview when I said, Nolan, can you specifically explain to me what a day in the life is like working on at the port in the shipyard? I saw The Wire season 2, but I haven't worked at the Navy Yard before, right? And it's you have your TWIC card, your TWIC card, and that gets you onto the dock. but that doesn't get you the job. You actually have to get picked to go onto the ship. You have to latch down the ships. You have to unload the ships. And he said, his family does that back in Savannah, Georgia. I was talking to him about this earlier this year. Actually, his family was on strike. There was a dock workers strike down there in Savannah. He was talking about that at the time. But he says anytime it's cold out there, he says it's colder on the river. And anytime that he's tired out there, he's like, I could be, working the graveyard shift back in Savannah, Georgia. So, look, Nolan Smith has really developed as a player. But one thing that universally has been the case with him is the effort, the want to, the energy. That was the case at Georgia when Fran was scouting him. That's been the case since he got here to Philly. For someone who's kind of been an athletic marvel, he was a combine warrior. I think what's not realized enough with him is like this is a guy who was a nonstop motor, and really as he was refining his skills, that was his calling card.
Yeah, the way Lane Johnson, everyone talks about how hard how hard of a worker he is. It's a good piece, good insight.
Yeah, I like
Appreciate
it.
that.
I got to tell you, you're killing it, man. Absolutely killing it. Great stuff.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
What's your schedule today?
Yeah, so I'll be with Sirianni at the press conference at 11:40. The Eagles are on the practice field around 1. They're actually on the field at Lincoln Financial Field. I'll be at practice. I'll be doing the show remotely. The PHLY show. We'll have the PHLY Eagles show. We'll have Bo and Professor Selman in studio. I will chime in at 2:00, and then I'm in the locker room at 2:30. Have a few loose ends I need to tie up, including finding out for VG who's controlling the post-game music. I will get to the bottom of that today.
Nice.
And then, a few other players that I need to talk to. Need to catch up with Saquon today. Haven't spoken to Saquon yet this week. And you can find all our coverage on PHLY.com. I also on allPHLY.com. I have a story coming out later on looking at some of the behind-the-scenes people who players have said have contributed to where the team is. Guys like equipment staff, training staff, the people in the cafeteria. There's one guy who makes all these guys breakfast every morning. Have their breakfast orders in there. So. Really trying to shed light on some of the kind of all that goes into the operation. One of I learned back when I was up in like the Yankees clubhouse, Mets clubhouse, and I was talking to the beat writers there, and they say get to know the clubhouse guys, get to know the clubbies, right? And then when you're in there every day, you see how much goes into the operation. So I really want to show who's involved in this behind the scenes. So that will come out later today on all PHLY.
You know what's so funny? That was the first thing that I did when I was a young reporter, I was in Chicago, and I go to New York. And the first thing I did was get to know the clubhouse people at Shea and Yankee Stadium. First thing I did. In fact, they got me my first apartment when I was in New York, in the Bronx. That's where the flow of information is.
Yeah.
Right? And like here it was different because I knew everybody anyway. Knew everybody at the Bet, knew everybody at the Link, knew everybody at, Citizens Bank Park. It's easy. But like up there, that's where the flow of information is. I love it, Zach. I'm so proud of you. You and I you remind me of a lot of what I did. So
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate
good
that
stuff, man. You're killing it. Thanks, brother.
Thank you. Talk to you guys. Yep.
There he is, Zachariah. All right, let's talk about some of our friends, shall we? Let me tell you about Valley Forge Tourism. Yes, Valley Forge.
Dude, it's
Montgomery County.
From Philly, it's a great day trip.
It is.
There's so much stuff to do out there.
It's, you're talking less than an hour. It's beautiful. They have winter weekend getaways, family-friendly, affordable excursions await in Valley Forge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. Valley Forge in Montgomery County, so much to offer, like must-see historical sites. Tons of historical sites, family attractions, vibrant art scene, restaurants, outdoor activities, shopping.
Tons of shopping out there.
You can't beat it. They're beautiful. Come springtime, like I know it's cold and snowy, but come springtime, golf. The courses are magnificent. The landscape is just incredibly beautiful.
Cold and snowy works out there because there was that terrible winter at Valley Forge, and they got those little cabins that George Washington was in. You can go pop into them.
The winter is great.
Yeah.
The spring is great. It really is. valleyforge.org to help you discover hidden gems, endless activities, tons of places to stay in Montgomery County. All right. Start planning your next getaway today. valleyforge.org. All right. Make it friendly and make it Montgo.
Yeah, make it Monco and make your kids financially literate. It'll help us all out. It'll make their lives way easier and your life as a parent way easier. And we got just a way to do that. Our friends over at TrueMark Financial Credit Union, they've got this green light account program going, which is super cool. Especially it's made just for kids. And the green light account comes with a green light app to use on your phone. It's changing the game, helping kids and teens learn how to earn, save, and spend wisely. They can set up saving goals, track spending, and even get an allowance all right there in the app. The cool part about it is the kids get their own ATM debit card, and they can make purchases and, feel like a mini adult, making real world decisions and money skill. And you stay in control of everything on the app, on your phone, so the kids can't go crazy and buy a Cadillac. It's like coaching your kid through their very own financial game. And for TrueMark Financial members, this cool program is totally free. Now's the perfect time to introduce your kids to the Greenlight program. Get signed up today. Visit TrueMark.com/Greenlight for more information.
All right. I love it. I love it. Now joining us, the glow of the film. You'll see him in his face, right? He is the resident leatherhead.
Looking extra pale this week.
He should. I hope. Franny Films. Hello, Franny Films.
Crave food, nor drink for nourishment, for they exist solely on the glow of the all-22 monitors. They are the Leatherheads, and he is Franny Films.
Hello, Franny Films.
What's going on, guys? Ant VG. It's a big Friday, big football Friday.
Dude, a monster. A monster Friday. I'm going to ask you, what are you laughing at?
No, it's a monster Friday, but we have worry about our no worry, which is weird.
I'm not worried, and that worries me. Let me just get right to it, because I don't know how the Rams stop the Eagles' run game. I just don't see it. Their linebackers aren't very good. Their safeties aren't very good. They have a front that's built to stop passing offense that can derail, harass quarterbacks. Go ahead. How are you going to stop them?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is the big thing that separates last week's game and previewing that matchup against Green Bay versus this one, is that the Green Bay Packers had the ability to stop the run. They had been one of the better run defenses in football over the back half of the season. And when I look at the Rams, this is a team that, the run defense has been a little bit better than what it was in the first half, a little bit better than what the Eagles saw in Week 12. But still, to your point, this is not a group that is built to be able to stop the run at a consistent rate. Now, that does not necessarily mean that, because you know how it is. We talked about this last week. Playoff games, it's about a one-game sample. And so weird stuff can happen, especially, that's the thing with weather. I think people think of, if there's a lot of snow on the ground, this is going to help the Eagles, it's going to shorten the game. To me, weather is a equalizer. That is where you can create some randomness there in terms of like guys slipping and things like that. That's something that can concern you, I think, a little bit going into this one. But to me, look, this Rams defense can do a lot of things to impact Jalen Hurts, impact the timing of the pass game. But if the Eagles are able to run the ball, they don't even need to do it the way that they did in Week 12. If they can do half of what they did in Week 12 when Saquon Barkley had 300 total yards from scrimmage in the game, if he goes for 150, 160 in the game, I just don't envision a situation where the Rams are able to win it. But I guess crazier things have happened.
Yeah, I
just don't see the snow. Like, I think in a normal game, the snow could be an equalizer. This seems like it just slants the table more in the Eagles' favor to me with the size of them and the effectiveness of the running game. Am I crazy?
No, I mean, what I think what Fran's saying is, weird things happen in the snow, right? Turnovers or, that's, right, Fran? I mean, that's it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like things might be perfectly blocked for Saquon, and he hits the hole, and then he slips and falls, right? You know, when he like that's where like the snow can just create these kind of random plays where that kind of levels the playing field potentially for a game. Now, it also could go the other way, right? It could tilt it, but I do think too, even if the weather was pristine going into this one, I think the Rams are coming into this game saying, okay, we want to try and shorten the game. We want to be able to run the football. Kyron Williams, I mean, he's had more forced missed tackles this year than Saquon Barkley. He had a higher success rate as a runner than Saquon Barkley. He's not as explosive. This rushing attack is not going to get those big gains the same way that the Eagles can, but they have the ability to stay on schedule, keep it to third and short, keep it to third and manageable, and that's where all the motion comes into play with this Rams offense and the play action. And so if they're able to possess the ball, that's where things can kind of get interesting. If every team has 8 possessions as opposed to 12 or 13 possessions in this game, that's another one that can kind of play into the Rams' favor. Or now they only need to get, right, hey, if we can get 3 stops defensively, we feel like our offense might be able to put up enough points on the board to be able to combat what the Eagles can do offensively.
Yeah, and that's all right. And look, there's certain things offensively, particularly if weather is that, if it is going to be bad, like, those quick hitters to Nakua, right? The flash passes. Yep. And they didn't execute them well because they didn't block them well. There was I think they had 2 or 3 holding penalties on the receivers Monday night, but that could be a dangerous thing.
No question. And I think when you're looking at, the way that team wants to be able to play, play their identity, it's going to be run game, play action, get the ball out of Stafford's hands quickly. He wants no parts of getting hit. I think when you're looking at Stafford at this stage of his career, he's done a nice job. Yeah, exactly. And when he's when he has been pressured this year, his numbers have been honestly like as bad as if they've been throughout his career. They've done a nice job of kind of working around that. They're doing more play action rollouts, moving the pocket. Now, the big thing to keep in mind is that for a large chunk of this year, this offense was in pieces in terms of the injuries that they were dealt with, not just in the skill positions, but also in the offensive line. So when you look at, you look at my notes that are up on allphly.com and you look at, where they rank in all these situations, you got to keep in mind, like earmark it, that for half the season, this team was completely ravaged by injuries all across the depth chart on offense. When everybody is healthy, which they are now, when everyone's healthy, this has been one of the most effective offenses in football. They've won 10 games down the stretch for a reason in the second half of the year. And so to me, that's where you look at it and say, all right, like this offense can be scary. But to your point, that the way you lead it off, like I just come back to this offensive line, Stoutland University, Saquon Barkley, like if the Eagles lean into that is the biggest mismatch in this game.
Yeah, I would think with the snow, I mean, I would expect going into this, you thought you'd see a ton of motion to try and get people open on the side of McVay, but in the snow, if it's 3 to 5 inches, I don't know how effective all that stuff can be with the motion.
Yeah, and that's it remains to be seen, right? We've seen some crazy snow games here in Philly, where the things it can really impact the way that the game goes. If it's 3 to 5 inches, that might be different than if it's 0 to 2. And I know that just depending on which weather professional you're following here locally in the city, I know the outcomes are all over the place in terms of what it could look like on Sunday. But I do think that even playing field, everything's level. I feel like the Eagles win this game, certainly the majority of the time. But it then comes down to, all right, like on those specific plays. I'd say it goes back to like Monday night, right? When you talk about how individual plays can swing the outcome of a game. You have that play where Matthew Stafford is in the grasp and he throws it down and it gets ruled incomplete instead of it being a fumble going the other way for a touchdown. That play, that's a 7-point swing. And then soon after, you flip the field and Jared Verse gets a fumble recovery for a touchdown. That's a 14-point swing where instead of it being a tie ball game, now the Rams are up by 14. Those are the types of things where in a playoff game, in a one-game sample, that can change the outcome. And honestly, that's the only reason that you would be concerned going into this matchup. They do a lot in terms of getting after the quarterback. Their pressure package is really unique. It's really effective, especially down the stretch. They found unique combinations to get those guys home. But if they're able to run the ball, the Eagles, if they're able to run the ball, control it, they should be able to win this one handily.
Hey, Freddie, do me a favor. Can you sit tight? Because we're going to go right now to Folsom Middle School in Hamilton.
Nice.
I love this, Franny. Like, we do this thing where I used to do this all the time, where we get this tapped into the kids of the Delaware Valley, right? Schools.
This is awesome.
Because Friday's school spirit, right? Moscow had his Eagle study, wore the Saquon Barkley jersey yesterday to school. So we do, all the schools do the Eagles, school spirit thing. So let's go to our man, Teacher Joe Martino, who has his 6th grade class at Folsom Middle School in Hamilton. Do we got you, Joe? There he is. Wait, now you're on mute. Take us off mute. Oh, man, we got Teacher Joe.
There we go. Good morning, Ann. How are you?
What do you, now listen.
Teacher Joe looks like he's at a tailgate.
Right, like, first of all, is there not a cooler teacher?
No, I can't believe he's a teacher.
Joe?
I'd argue, Ann, but who
Eagle
listens,
jersey
right?
on.
I'd argue, but who listens?
You're the greatest, Joe. You really are.
Thanks. It rubs off for you. Seeing you all the time at the games and everything else. We get in together. We're all passionate. We bring out the best of one another.
You've been tell the Delaware Valley you about your tailgate, because your tailgate's a legendary tailgate.
We're in the P lot. Been doing it since '82. I've been doing it since I've been since I was in kindergarten, and we used to have a bus, and then the older gentlemen, they kind of passed it on to us, the kids. And so now we have, we're next to the rodeos in the P lot. And, it's going to be like 2 or 3 hours in line right before, everything gets all set up and done. But, it's just hundreds and hundreds of people. It's a neighborhood. It's another hometown for us.
Teacher Joe, like behind you got a sign that says "Fear, Pain, Defeat." What is that?
No mercy.
No mercy.
It doesn't exist in this dojo. Pain does not exist in this dojo. Defeat does not exist in this dojo. And I got a couple of Ric Flair things going on.
Class? Fran Duffy? Oh my God!
You guys want to say hi real quick?
All right, do it, Joe. Take it away, baby.
All right, here we go.
Man, that is awesome.
One more.
Dude, that is great.
Hey, can our cheerleaders do something real quick? Go ahead. No, she's all scared now. Never mind. She's all scared now. Maybe next week.
I love it. We'll talk to you for the NFC Championship game, Teacher Joe.
See you next weekend. We'll definitely be there.
That's right. Go
Coming
back.
back to the league. Go Birds. See you, boys.
Dude, that's all, because for years I've heard it, but to see it, it's phenomenal.
I used to do that, Franny. I did it for years, right? Going back to the Andy Reid run, where I would go to schools and I'd have teachers and principals reach out to me, and I loved it because to me it's a communal. It's our community. It's Philadelphia, the Delaware Valley, and it's what we do, right? We indoctrinate the kids. I love it. It's my favorite.
We're
thing.
so excited. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
My son is 5, and so I'm definitely seeing the same thing. You talk about like the indoctrination and the culture, and that's what the fandom's all about.
Amen, brother. Amen. So, all right, thanks for bearing with us. So, game plan wise, let's talk about what you saw from the Eagles defense on November 24th. So the Rams go up and down the field the first 2 drives. They fumble the first. They go in for a touchdown. And then Fangio gets 3 straight 3-and-outs. What was the adjustment?
I think the big thing was number one, they played a little bit more man coverage in that game than what we've seen from them in the past. They did some good things to be able to take away the middle of the field from a coverage standpoint. We know how much Sean McVay, Matthew Stafford like to target the middle. My guess is without Nakobe Dean, that is something that they will be trying to do here this week as well. They're going to have Oren Burks or Jeremiah Trotter Jr., whoever's out there, have that circled in the game plan, as that's an area that we can attack because they like to do it anyway, right? So I think that they'll probably turn that lever up a little bit more, turn that dial up a little bit more than they typically do as well. And so I think that's something you'll probably see. But the difference maker was the defensive line was able to get home and pressure Stafford. And that's why, for me, my keys to the game, that is one of the biggest things for the Eagles to do here. Can they pressure Matthew Stafford with the 4-man rush? He carves up the blitz. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football. And when you send extra guys at him, he's going to make you pay. He just did it Monday night against Brian Flores and the Minnesota Vikings. But if you're able to get home with 4, play that zone coverage behind it, throw bodies at the problem from a coverage standpoint. Hey, we're going to have 2 guys over Nakua. We're going to have 2 guys over Cooper Kupp. If they're able to do that consistently, and then you allow Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, you let those guys cut it loose and be able to get home, win those one-on-ones. That's a formula that worked for them in week 12. It's a formula that would probably work for them again here this weekend.
And I, it's funny. I was watching some of the tape from week 12, and the one guy who played fantastic in that game was Cooper, and he did it on Cooper Kupp. It was Cooper on Cooper crime. All right.
Yes.
He was physical.
Yeah.
He did not let Cooper Kupp work the middle of the field. You talk about the middle of the field, and I thought DeJean played a hell of a game. And during that period, those 3 and outs, he was great.
Yep. Yeah, there was the one turnover on downs. I remember short. It was like a 3rd and short, 4th and short, where DeJean impacted Cooper Kupp basically at the line of scrimmage at the down marker of the game, because it was a 3rd or 4th and 1 throw to the left side, and DeJean jumps in front. Cooper Kupp is clearly banged up right now, guys. I mean, very clearly not 100%. He was 3rd on the team in wide receiver snaps last week behind Demarcus Robinson. They played more 2 tight end sets than we've seen typically from the LA Rams. And then when you look at his performance numbers, you go into next gen stats and you say like his average mile per hour in terms of how he's moving, he's like a full mile per hour average down the last 4 games than what he was the previous 4. And to me, he's not moving as well as he typically does. He's only had 1 catch a game over the last month. He has basically become a non-factor, and they're just funneling targets to Puka Nacua. And so clearly right now, like, you have to stop Nacua in this pass game, and you got to stop the run. Kyron Williams, he's on like some kind of touchdown run streak. They've done a nice job again of sustaining with the rushing attack, holding onto the football, possessing the football, and that's going to be their formula trying to come in here, is trying to stay ahead of the sticks and make sure they can try and possess the ball and keep the ball away from Saquon Barkley and from Jalen Hurts.
Hey, Franny, in your keys of the game, you have for the Birds, they need to handle the motion before, during the snap, and the 2nd and 3rd level defenders must keep eyes on their luggage. What does that mean for a non-football freak like me? What is keep their eyes on their luggage?
That's an old coaching point that I took from our old defensive coordinator when I was at Temple, Mark D'Onofrio, who's out at Stanford now. Whenever we would go up against the option teams, at Army, Navy, we played those teams every single year when I was working at Temple. And when you're going up against those teams, the motion is always going to be involved. The misdirection is always going to be involved. And that was always a big thing that they would say for their linebackers, for the nickel, for the safeties, is you can't take the eye candy. If you've got guys going one way, you need to focus on what your assignment is. If you're a C-gap player, or if you're responsible for a tight end man-to-man coverage, do your job. That's essentially what this is. So, this is your responsibility right here. Don't worry about what the other 10 guys are doing. Worry about this. Worry about your job. And so, that's where the keep your eyes on your luggage comes from in my notes. But that's going to be big here in this game. Now, the Eagles have been the best defense in football when it comes to yards per play against motion this season. One of their worst games in that category was against this Rams team. The Rams are the best team in motion in football. Number 2 in overall motion rate, number 1 in motion at the snap, number 1 in multiple motions on a single play. And so they're going to have all kinds of moving pieces. And to me, that's why it's so important to get into 3rd and long against this defense. Now, they shut the Rams out on 3rd down. They were 0 for 8 on 3rd down in that game. And a big reason why was after that second drive, and VG, they did a great job of being able to stop the run, limit Kyren Williams. When you get to 3rd and 8, when you get to 3rd and 7, all that motion stuff goes out the window. You're not able to sell things as well from that standpoint. So one good way to remove that from the equation, make sure you stop the run on those early downs.
So Eagles offense, I think they got to. I said it earlier. You and I talked. You got to lean into the RPO. They put Jalen in the run game. Like, this is it. Like, you got, potentially 3 games left. So you're most effective with him in the run game. How do you think they're going to play it?
Yeah, I think from a look, the weather is going to impact the pass game at some point, but I think when you're looking at the way that what the Rams do well, if they don't wait till 3rd down to get into that pressure package. It's going to be 2nd and 8. It's going to be 2nd and 7, and you're going to see 2 small defensive tackles. You're going to see linebackers up on the line of scrimmage, and they are going to come after you or show the illusion of coming after you. Honestly, a lot of the same things we talked about a week ago about what Green Bay's defense can do well. Yeah. And I was surprised by the lack of that from Green Bay last week. I mean, we talked about all the cover 2 disguises and all the things they did well over the course of the season. They did it like 1 time in that game against the Eagles. I was kind of surprised by what that defensive game plan was. It's funny.
It took them 2 series before they started the pressure.
Yeah.
It was once they pressured Hurts, they had success. Right. But it took them 2 series to do it. You're already behind 10-0.
Yeah, I was surprised by that game plan. And so, look, when you look at the Rams, a lot of the same things are true. They do it differently, and they've been more effective. Look at this team, what they did. I mean, there was like 12 different guys had a pressure against the Minnesota Vikings. 8 or 9 different guys contributed for a sack against the Vikings. They had 9 sacks in that game on Monday night. I'm not saying they're going to get 9 sacks here against the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts has been one of the more sacked quarterbacks on a percentage standpoint in football this season. We know that he's got that propensity to run into pressure. And so, yeah, I agree with you. I think in this game, obviously, the run game is going to be the focal point, but then you start getting into like the RPO game, the play action game, moving the pocket, trying to find ways to make well-designed plays for Jalen Hurts, trying to define throwing lanes, define those windows for him. We saw that on that 23-yard completion of Devontae Smith in the 3rd quarter, where, all right, it's a play action rollout, wide open wide receiver, right? Just finding some of those easy layup throws for him in the pass game because, again, they have been so effective when they get into that rush package. One of the things I put in my notes, I thought this was fascinating. They take those 2 defensive tackles, guys, and they will put them both to one side of the formation. It'll be like 3 defensive linemen over here and 1 over there. They'll bring a linebacker up, so it's like a 5 or a 6-man front. And with those 2 defensive tackles lined up on the same side, they love running the 2-man games, those 2-man stunts with those players. They have more sacks from that look than they do from any other look combined. And so like when they get into those crazy funky looks up front, that's where they are most dangerous. And they don't wait till, it's 3rd down, it's 3rd and long. It'll be 2nd and 7, and you're going to see that rush package. And so all those same things we said from Jalen Hurts last week where you've got to decipher, is it going to be pressure or is it not? And then is it going to be zone coverage? Is it going to be man coverage? What kind of zone coverage is it? They play more variety of zone coverage than any team in the league. Every single coverage family, cover 1, cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, cover 6, they play every single one at least 13% of the time. So they don't major in any one thing, but they minor in everything. And so what that means for Jalen is that's a lot to figure out after the snap. What are they doing? Is it a little bit different than what they did last series? They can keep you on your toes that way. A good way to take that out, run the ball.
Yep. But we say it. All right. We come to that question. It's the time.
Yeah. What are we doing? The gummy rating. How many gummies is this game?
I mean, look, if you want to like just kind of feel good and stay warm, you're at home, you want to, you're dealing with the cold weather out there, you're probably like in that 2 gummy range. I think, look, you're going up against Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay. There is the propensity there for an upset. That said, I think when you're looking at like range of outcomes, the Eagles should win this game. There's the potential here where they could run this team off the field as well, and where it's not even close, much like it was back in Week 12. And so while you have the wide variety of outcomes, I think, play it safe. Don't go. I don't think you need to go 3 gummy. I don't think you want to go too confident and go 1 gummy. Play it down the middle.
I like that because then I want to be functioning for the next game. So I like the two gummy rule for the
All right,
for the
all
Birds.
right.
Yeah.
I say 0.
0? You've obviously never watched the game on gummies. Duh.
Freddie, great stuff, brother. Everybody has to get your report. It's unbelievable. Andrew showed it. It's the best. We love you. Thanks, pal.
Appreciate it, guys. We'll talk soon.
There he is, our man, Franny Films, checking in. All right, this portion of the program brought to you by the Bet Park Sportsbook and online casino app. Let's talk about some of our friends like the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app. Look, it's the Holy Quintet, right? We got 2 games tomorrow: Chiefs and Texans, and Washington and Detroit, Eagles, Rams, and then the crown jewel from a football standpoint, the Ravens and the Bills, and the national championship game on Monday night. It's going to be incredible. So you have to have the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app with you all weekend long. So you can play all the games, all the props, all the stuff that we talked about on Cousins Corner with the Brain. All right. Brain says biggest bet, Eagles, right? Loves the Eagles, the whole thing. Loves Chiefs and teasers. You can have a lot of fun with the Bet Park Sportsbook online casino app, and you can make your downtime fun time. During the game, you can play with live dealer blackjack, roulette, craps, all the hot online slots like Peaky Blinders and Rocky. I mean, they got it all. So check it out. BetParks.com has all the details. You can get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours and you're a new customer. Again, BetParks.com, all the details. You got to be 21. You got to be in PA, New Jersey, Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right. Gummies come in handy when you got home repairs you need to do, but you know what takes the need for that away? Ace Hardware Home Services, because if you got home repairs to be made, they take all the stress and worry out of it. Everyone says they got a guy. Ace Hardware Home Services, they got tons of guys, and they're all good at what they do. So if you got a leaky pipe, you got an air conditioning issue, you got a faucet you said you fixed last fall and it's still going, they got people to handle it. They're all in the neighborhood. They're out every day. I see their trucks around. They're not just the helpful hardware folks now. Now they're the helpful home service and repair folks coming right out to your house. They got trusted pros to keep your home humming all year long. Ace Hardware Home Services, they're bringing helpful home. The helpful you love from the store, now right to your front door. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at www.acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on that next home project.
Ace, the helpful place. Yes, we love it. This portion of the show brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. TrueMark.com/PHLY. Define the credit union difference. Joining us now from the NFL Network, his time of the year. You want to talk about a hometown hero right here doing big things. The preeminent voice of the NFL. I want news. I go to Mikey G. Mike Garafolo joins us. Good morning, Michael.
I was unmuted. I don't know how I got muted. Somebody muted me.
What
What's
you
up?
say, buddy boy?
How are you, buddy?
Good, good. Now, where you at? You're not in your office.
Yeah, my wife's working from home today. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
He's not at the coffee shop. Frazier says all the football guys are at the coffee shop.
So right off the bat, I mean, how does this not be a repeat of November 24th when it comes to stopping Barkley?
The Rams are playing better. They're playing better up front. They had young guys that got better as the season went along. Their last 4 games they played, all under 10 points scored for the opponent. So that's a reason why it's not a repeat. Now, do they shut them down? That's the next question. Or do they contain them? So it's not, what was it, 300 yards on the ground last time?
Yeah.
Maybe it's
total yards, yeah, 255.
180, 190. Like I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this because we know how hot the Rams are. We know how confident they are. We know how well they're playing on defense. But this is an Eagles team that you know exactly what they want to do, and they've done it once to this team. And, it helps to have that confidence. It helps to have that on tape to watch again. But, by the same token, the Rams are seeing that and say, well, what do we got to do to shore it up? So I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this one. it's an interesting spot. It's a lot to travel to Arizona, all that emotion for the Rams, go back home, fly across the country. Like that's a lot to ask of a team.
It is. I keep going back to it. I mean, it's a huge disadvantage in every which way. The fact that you had to play in Arizona on a Monday night, so you're already up against it because of the short week. Then you're right, the emotional thing, all the fires, the fires, and then you got to come here, and then you also got to play in cold and what looks like to be weather, or it looks like to be snow.
Yeah, well, so a couple of things there. One, since they started the Monday night game, the teams coming off of that Monday night game are 1-3 so far. That's the good news if you're the Eagles. The bad news is the one win was the Rams, and they went to Arizona, won that. I mean, different scenario, but went to Arizona, won that. Then they wound up winning. So it's yeah, the cold weather thing as well. I mean, I covered them a couple of weeks ago when they played the Jets. It was brutally cold that day, and I remember talking to Sean McVay ahead of time. He says, I don't think you can't replicate that in practice. He said, but it's not so much the weather thing; it's what kind of style of not so much that they, live in LA and practice in LA. It's that what kind of style of football do you play? And he felt confident that they play a physical brand of football. They run the ball physically. Even Kyron Williams, who coming out was not necessarily known as a power back. I mean, this kid's moving piles. He's, with the help of his offensive line, moving piles. He's rushing off defenders. He's become more of a physical runner. So they're going to have to give the Eagles a taste of their own medicine if if they got a shot at pulling off an upset here.
Yeah, now it's the other thing is a team galvanized, right? Like that intangible. We saw it with the Saints and Katrina. There is something real about that when it comes to sports, that you go on this kind of magical ride and all the adversity, like, short weeks and travel and cold and everything else, goes out the window because you have this unified team. Do you sense any of that with them?
How long does that last, though? That's the problem. It's like it can be short-lived and it can burn out quickly.
I know.
Does it last for an entire postseason, or is it something that lifts you up and gets you through that? It's hard in this league to have that emotion. You can't just replicate that, and you can't just flick a switch and expect it to be back on again. It's just so tough for the Rams, for any team really, to kind of continue to play that level of emotional football. To me, it's more, when you get to the postseason, and they've got this part of it. To me, it's more confidence, right? Like confidence can snowball. I covered two Giants teams that won on the road. While they won a home game in 2011, but they won on the road in 2007. And it's this palpable confidence, swagger that you can sort of see and experience and be around. And you can kind of, now in 2007, I didn't really, but once I got to 11, I was like, oh, I see that. Like I've seen that before. I've seen that confidence. That's the thing you got to have. And I remember in 11, at that point, I was convinced that they were going to win the series, and I picked them every game, right? And I even got mocked by one of the Packers bloggers, we'll call them, when I picked the Giants. I said, momentum's on their side. And I remember he retweeted, it's like, good thing they, take a week off in between games. And I was like, no, because a lot of people think momentum is not real and confident. It's real, man. It's real. Palpable. So they do have that.
You brought up that 07, and you're so right. Like they had a really difficult string. They went through at Tampa. They went to Dallas. Mm-hmm. They went to Green Bay in a snowstorm with Favre, and then beat the unbeaten Patriots.
Do you know, to this day, not the only game, but the game that most surprised me, right? Because I picked them to beat Tampa, and then I went against them the rest of the way, and I made a joke to Giants fans. I said, I'll continue. Even the Super Bowl, which I thought they had a really good shot of winning. Yeah. I said, I'll pick the Patriots. I even wrote it. I picked the Patriots just because I don't want to ruin your jinx, Giants fans. But I actually wanted to pick them in the Super Bowl. But the only game, the biggest surprise is the Cowboys game, right? Like going to Lambeau, winning against Favre in that weather. Okay, yeah, it was a surprise. Beating the Patriots undefeated. Yeah, it was a surprise. Totally to this, nothing going into that game. Nothing at all. And this game just came up recently. I don't know why we were talking about this game recently somewhere. Nothing surprised me more than them going to, because they played Dallas twice that year. And no matter how hard they tried, no matter how many punches they had, Dallas always had the counterpunch. So the only thing I can tell you about that game is the trip to Cabo and the effect on that team was real. The Jessica Simpson curse was real.
Yeah, Tony Romo, real. That thing. I know. I feel you. From an Eagles standpoint, man, we were talking about earlier in the week. It feels like the entire world hates them, right? Like the Gronk talked about it. Like he was asked, "Hey, well, how come nobody's talking about the Eagles?" He's like, "Because nobody likes them." Right? Like the Lions everybody loves the Lions. Obviously, people are going to root for the Rams for the obvious reasons. If they get to the Super Bowl, they'll root for the Ravens. They'll root for the Bills. Like, they don't like the Eagles. They don't like Sirianni. They don't like the Eagles fans, right?
Yeah.
It feels like there's a complete anti-Eagle thing around the NFL.
Yeah. And this whole, Packers fan storyline this week is not helping things nationally. I feel what that man said was vile and cannot be defended in any regard. But I want the full picture of that story. Okay, I want to see guy walking. He had a GoPro on his chest walking in there. Is that what I saw?
Yeah,
pretty sure I saw that. Also, some tweets in my man's past that were not.
Terrible!
Exactly. You saw those?
No, I didn't see
the
those.
Packer man tweet. Yeah, some slurs in there.
Oh,
no, not to say that he deserved it or anything like that.
Right.
Please do not flip what I just said and make it seem like it. But like, what was going on? Give me the full picture there. Let's see what was going on there. But I bring that up because that's the kind of stuff. Even Jared Verse with the Rams now had some comments about every time he sees the green and the white, he feels a certain kind of way, and I hate the fans and all this stuff. And I remember Clowney a couple of years ago was poking the bear on the way in. Then they wound up losing that, they won that game. That was the concussion game. Never mind. He didn't show for this game recently when he was playing with the Panthers. So look, it's part of the whole thing. I want folks to please, you can get on visiting fans, but let's keep it somewhat civil here. Okay, let's not have any more viral videos. I always say it's a couple of bad apples that spoil it for the whole bunch. But you know what? By the same token, use that on your side. Use that to motivate you to cheer and to boo a little bit louder, whatever you need to do to make it a hostile environment. Not physically, not threatening, none of that, but do what you got to do. It's all par for the course here. It's called home field advantage for a reason.
That's right.
But Mike, as you travel around the league, is it palpable, like the way Gronk is talking? He's saying in his circles and stuff, like people just hate the Eagles, and it's not just the fans; they hate the Eagles.
It's not just the fans. I mean, I think now Sirianni has dialed back some of the antics and the nodding into the camera and the other stuff that he was saying. Have you noticed he did one this year, I think, but have you noticed he doesn't do a whole lot of in-game interviews?
No.
Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Every other coach does them.
Yeah.
Which I thought was mandatory, but apparently it's not. And now that I think over the years, I don't think Belichick's done them between quarters. He just goes to a different level during the game. And we've seen his competitiveness. We've seen it on display, and people don't like that, especially when you're good. And this is a team that has been good, right? Even when they're not good, they make the playoffs. So,
right. Right.
Hey, we were talking. Should we lead into that? Should Nick just go crazy? Should we be the heels, the villains? That's what we've been talking about this week.
Nick Bickle.
Should you be the heels? I think we're
As
already
a South
there.
Philadelphia guy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean it's growing up and the whole
Bullies,
cowboy
baby.
snowball thing. I mean, I don't advocate the batteries or anything physical, but nobody's getting hurt by a snowball. That's okay. You can do that kind of stuff, right?
Amen, brother. Amen. Hey, let me ask you about the coaching vacancies, and obviously Kellen Moore, who will be interviewing today. Cowboys, he's apparently the front runner. What are you hearing?
One of. The Dion thing is not. I don't think that's happening. I think we're gonna, in the near future, see some kind of extension in Colorado for him to stay. So I don't believe that he's going to be an NFL coach this year. We'll see about it in the future.
Why? Why? I got to ask you why. Because why not? Because it feels like if he's going to do it, now's the time with Shador going into the league and losing Travis Hunter.
I other than he likes where he is now. If it was a situation that he knew he was going to be coaching his son, perhaps different, but his son might wind up in Cleveland or Tennessee here, the way that this is going. Both of those teams have head coaches in place. So I think that might be the alignment that you'll see down the road. At some point, his son will be playing for a team that will be firing its head coach, and that could be the entry point for Dion at that point. I believe that that's a huge part of it. I also think that he is happy with what has happened in Colorado. He's enjoyed the process there. He's sort of a trailblazer that we're seeing a lot of guys, Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick. And I saw Brandon Jacobs, the former Giants running back, tweeted out 2 days ago that he wants to be a college coach right now, looking for an opportunity, basically advertised it on Twitter. So a lot of folks trying to follow in that path, which is not to say that he's the first former player to get into college coaching by any stretch. But certainly when you're Dion and you do it the way that he's done it, and these guys think, well, I could do it that way. I don't have to do it necessarily the traditional way. That they like that path and they want to follow in that. So I think he's enjoyed the process. If you're asking me whether he'll be a head coach one day, yes, I think he will be a head coach in the NFL one day. I do. I just don't believe, based on what I've heard, that it's going to be with the Cowboys this year.
And so, but you think Kellen Moore has a real chance?
Yes, I do. And the way this search is lining up, I mean, I love Leslie Frazier. I don't see the Cowboys hiring Leslie Frazier right now. Salah's in the mix. I love that Salah's getting looks because I think he got a raw deal with the Jets in a number of ways. And you saw what happened after he left the Jets this year. This is not a shot at Jeff Ulbrich. He was put in a tough spot.
Right.
When Salah left, everything went downhill. It was supposed to spark the Jets. It did the opposite for Woody Johnson and what he wanted to do there. So, I think he's somewhere in the mix there. Does Salah get a head coaching job? It might be tough to see that. But, the Cowboys, I also believe the Witten stuff, Anthony. I really do. And somebody had told me, gosh, last year, maybe the year before, the next head coach of the Cowboys is going to be Jason Witten. I don't think we're there. And I do think there was something in Jerry Jones's mind where, maybe he's not ready quite yet. He can join the staff and jump up. And Mike McCarthy could be a short-term deal. And Mike McCarthy, to his credit and his agent's credit, said, I've earned more than that and moved on. Now, I know, Ant, that's not necessarily your guy, but I like the fact that he stood on his square on that one and said, no, I'm not taking some Mickey Mouse short deal here. I've earned more than that.
Wow. Wow. I respect that.
Yeah.
Where else here? Anything else heating up as far as the vacancies are concerned?
Listen, the NFL has tried to slow down the process, so I think we're going to wait to see, if the Lions are in the Super Bowl. Somebody's going to be in the Super Bowl, whether it's the Lions or the Eagles coming out of the NFC. That's going to slow down the process for whether it's Kellen Moore or Aaron Glenn or Ben Johnson. And Johnson's really kept it tight. Like, usually a team will be playing in the Super Bowl and you'll know, oh, that guy, he's Dan Quinn, I think, when he was with the Seahawks, we knew he was getting the job in Atlanta. It was just a matter of he's got to play the Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan maybe was getting the Niners job and was playing in the Super Bowl. Like, we knew what was going to happen. In this case, you might have Ben Johnson take it through the Super Bowl because this guy's like super tight and not really talking to anybody. And he may say, I'm not making a decision left. You could have potentially Jacksonville, Vegas waiting on him after the Super Bowl. We may cover the Super Bowl, not knowing which way he's going to go and what the other team. We'll see. I mean, I think it'd be unfair to leave a team hanging like that. But Ben Johnson's kind of done this Ben's way the last couple of years, and wouldn't be surprised if he continues to do that.
That's interesting. All right, real quick to go through the other games. Big storyline: Chiefs and Texans.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs are. Again, we talk about Baltimore and Buffalo. We'll get to that game. But the Chiefs are still the Chiefs, man. I don't know how. They got better.
Yeah, and they're so good defensively. Like, if it was an offensive team and you said, oh, all of a sudden, and we've seen this before. I mean, Houston under Bill O'Brien jumps out to a 24-0 lead or whatever it was, and they wind up winning that game. I don't see that game. I can't see that happening for multiple reasons. Houston wasn't good enough to do that last time they played Kansas City, and now they don't have Tank Dell. Right? That's one thing. And you've got a Chiefs defense that's just been so good. I just don't see them getting run like that with what Spags has been able to do. So I got a hard time finding a way for a path to an upset here for Houston. What's Saturday night? That's Detroit.
Washington. Yeah, Detroit,
yeah,
which
obviously
was interesting. Bobby Wagner said that if we pressure Goff, he just turns into Kenny Pickett.
He said that?
Yes. He said, here's the quote. Bobby Wagner on the Fan this afternoon at 106.7. Goff is having an okay year, but honestly, we don't fear him. Our plan Sunday is to pressure him into making bad decisions. If you can rough him up early, he's no better than a quarterback like Kenny Pickett.
You sure he said that?
I saw the tweet. It's on 106 The Fan. I mean, that's what it was on Twitter. So I don't know.
I'm so skeptical these days because
I know, and it said on the
AI.
Fan. So I don't know. Again, that's their sports radio station down there. I don't know.
No, there's no way he said that. Eli Joker, real sports fan. I'm Anthony. I'm skeptical on that one.
Well, whatever.
This is nowhere else. It's one guy that I don't think he said that.
Okay.
I don't think.
Whatever.
It
just came up on my.
I know, but it's you gotta like.
I mean, maybe he didn't go on there and say it. I don't. Forget that. Give me the, the Washington versus.
I almost want to call the upset here. I really do.
Really?
Like, I'm tempted. I am tempted. I just feel like this team played so well in Tampa, and the way that they put the ball in Jaden Daniels' hand, and he's like Mr. Flatline there in key situations. He gets the ball, and Kalijah Cansey's pulling his towel out of his belt there, and just not panicking at all. And the way that he's operating in Cliff Kingsbury's offense, I know we talk about late season Cliff. We haven't really seen that. I think Washington gives them a game. Like if Washington gets their doors blown off, I'll be absolutely floored. That'd be the biggest surprise of the weekend to me if Washington got run. I think this is a tight game, and maybe it comes down to a play late in the game, and who knows? I mean, if you got him with the ball in a key spot, he's shown you that he can make the play and he can stay calm, and he's more than just a rookie, and he's able to do that.
And just the way he played against Tampa, I thought the way they played against Tampa was so impressive because they got possessions. Like they held the ball 11 more minutes. And you're going up against a team, and Tampa has their secondary is not good, but their run defense is good. Like, Vita Vea, they're hard to run against, right?
Yeah,
so you look at the Lions, where are they at health-wise?
Not all the way back, and we're waiting on Aiden Hutchinson as we're getting close to that time where he could potentially return to action. I know we talked about the Super Bowl, maybe the NFC Championship. It seems like such a tough turnaround at this point. But they're still banged up. David Montgomery coming back has been huge for them. We thought he was done for the season. All of a sudden, he's a full practice participant the entire week. So they're better than they were, but they're still banged up in some key places here. And I don't know. I just got a little twinge about this game. We'll see.
Yeah, no, they can, because here's what they do, and this was always so impressive. But they were 2nd and 4, 2nd and 5. They win first down. You win first down, and against the Lions, you can win first down, and then you can take the air out of the ball. And then there's that pressure on the Lions to score. That's what you want when if the Eagles play them next week. What you want is having the pressure on Detroit to score, right? You want to make them go, oh my God. That's where, I love Dan Campbell and he's going to go for it. And all of a sudden there's a pressure that you get 4th down, you got to convert.
I think, you want to put them in those spots for sure. Cause they're going to go for it. And then all of a sudden you get a couple of key misses there and you go back to all of a sudden memories of last year in key spots, making critical mistakes. You want that in their head. I also, if I'm Washington, I want to slow this game down. Okay. Yeah. I want to make sure we've got 10 play drives. I want to keep the ball in Jaden's hands on 3rd and 6, and he picks up 7. Not even a first down by 15 yards, just by enough. That is such an impact on a team. And we've seen teams, and the Eagles did it against the Steelers, that have drives like that. It is morale crushing for the other team. That's the kind of game that I see in my head. If it goes high scoring and it becomes a bit of a shootout, that's where Detroit wants to take it. I think you want this game in the 20s. If you're Washington, a 24-21 type of game, I think that's your speed here. And to have those gains and those yards and those drives, where you're just eating up yards, eating up clock. Jaden's keeping the ball. You're giving it to Eckler. You're giving it to Brian Robinson. These guys are getting yardage. I think that's the way you wind up winning this game for sure.
All right, last one, Sunday night, which is going to be a crown jewel, Buffalo and Baltimore, the battle of the MVPs. I mean, my God, I mean, this is the greatest theater of all.
My prediction is that it's like last second ball in somebody's hands with a chance to win. Like, how do you? I can't see a 10 to 20 point win for either team here.
No.
I see a tight game down the stretch, somebody with a chance to make a play, and who do you root for, right? Because both guys, I love watching both guys play. Neither one has been to the promised land. Either way, it's going to be a good story. Well, I mean, it's still going to beat the Chiefs potentially, but either way, it's going to be a good story that they're advancing to that point with a chance to get there. I think it's what I need Josh Allen to do if I'm Buffalo is not be a hero, right? Like, you're going to be a hero, but don't think you have to be. React. Make those plays because that's how you're responding to a situation. Don't go in thinking you have to do that kind of stuff. Let it come naturally. Dive to the pylon off a lateral ball because that's just how your athletic instincts took over. That's the game it's going to have to be.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Mikey, where you at? What's your schedule?
I will be in Philadelphia. We're on the air 11 a.m. Sunday morning on NFL Network, game day morning. And I'll be down there covering Eagles Rams.
You coming down in the morning or you staying over?
I'm coming down in the morning, Gus. It's
come on, man. I'm trying to get a beer. I'm always trying to get you.
Well, the kids got to get a little older before I can. Hey, honey, I'm gonna drive down early on Saturday night. So
I got you, my brother. Well, I'll see you Sunday. We look forward to great stuff as always. We love you.
You got it. All right, good. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Hey, Flyers on a 4-game point streak.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Quick last night over the aisle.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. 500. All right. See you, buddy. All right. That was great. That was. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I look forward to seeing his getup too. He'll have a good knit hat on in the snow.
Yeah.
Mikey G will be looking.
AccuVinny forecast. The latest AccuVinny forecast.
All right.
Accumulating snow for the game. About an inch or two. The GFS model showing a total of 1 to 3 for the evening, maybe 3 to 6. That's the Euro model.
That's the evening, though.
Yeah,
It won't be the afternoon.
But we're looking at during the snow during the game accumulating snow.
All right.
So
Yeah.
It looks like there's no rain. It looks like it's going to be all snow.
It looks like all snow.
All snow.
Bring the snow.
The rain would have been better for
I agree.
Eagles. Because I don't think Stafford in the rain. I think Stafford in the rain.
Nah, he's Kenny Pickett in the rain.
Yeah, I'm with you. So let's think about this. We're going to look ahead to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to our friends at Xfinity Mobile. We're going to award who we think is going to get the game ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday you went
A.J. Brown.
The obvious to me is Barkley, right?
Yeah.
Getting the game ball. I think it's twofold. I think it's going to be a Barkley. And if I have to pick somebody on defense, as much as I love Carter, and I think Carter should be the game record because up the middle pressure, A-gap pressure is what really bothers Stafford. He also will be instrumental in clogging up the run, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Carter's the guy. He's been the game record all year long, right? With a little bit of a nod to Cooper DeJean in the middle of the field, taking away Cooper Kupp again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Carter's the guy. All right? Barkley on offense, Carter on defense, and I think those are the obvious.
I thought you were going to go Nolan Smith, actually, the way he's been flying around.
He is, but you know what? And as much as I love to do that, I've seen that, man, that A-gap pressure just freaks Stafford out, man.
No Zach Bond, now that he's got the green dot?
Yeah. No, I love Zach Bond, too. I'm a Carter is my favorite. He's Ndamukong Suh 2.0.
That'd be great. I'd love to be wrong and have Trout Jr. get the game ball.
That'd be awesome.
Big
Game
for
ball
Trout Jr.
proudly presented by our friends at Xfinity Mobile. Join the millions who have switched to one of the fastest growing mobile services, Xfinity Mobile. This portion of the program brought to you by Rite Aid. RiteAid.com to find the nearest store and pharmacy. So stock up on whatever you need this weekend because it's going to
Eggs,
snow.
butter, bread. They have that.
Yeah.
They have that at Rite Aid.
Yeah.
That's
Have
what
it
you
all.
get when the snow comes.
All right. This guy's analysis, I got to tell you, I talk to all these analysts, all weekend long,
Mhm.
all week long, all year long. There's nothing better than hearing Jason Avant break down a game. Jason, I have to tell you, and I say this with the utmost sincerity, he's got to be on a network. He's got all those talking heads and suits that I see on Sundays. And look, I know he does Michigan and all. He needs to be on whether it's CBS, Fox, NFL Network, NBC. Jason Avant his analysis is unbelievable.
It's second level. I agree. When I watch him on TV on like Comcast, I'm like, how is he not with all the
he needs
all
to be,
the knuckleheads they have on
I don't wanna lose
ESPN
him,
and NFL
right?
Network?
Like, I don't want to lose him.
Yeah,
but he needs to be on
totally agree.
Fox or CBS or ESPN.
Yep.
Here he is. We're lucky enough to be able to get him. The great Jason Avant. Jason, good morning.
Gents, how you guys doing? I appreciate all the support. Thank you guys.
You know how I feel. I listen. I don't say about everybody. Your analysis is so second level. I mean, you're such a student of the game. I love you as a friend, but beyond that, just hearing talking football with you. So, how do you see Sunday?
Well, the Eagles are the superior team because in so many facets of the game. But again, it's the playoffs, and it comes down to a few things. Is will the Rams be able to adjust this game, stopping the run in comparison to last game and the way Saquon went crazy on them, right? If it comes down to quarterback play, do you trust Jalen Hurts over Matthew Stafford? So there's a bunch of different lines here. Jared Verse only has 4.5 sacks, but he affects the passer more than any player in the NFL. So there's a lot of things that can go in either team's favor, but I will say the Eagles have the superior roster. And when it matters, the offensive line, the defensive line, and you said something in your opening about Jalen Carter. Every quarterback is affected with A gap, B gap pressure. When it comes right at you, it changes everything. That's the difference between Sam Darnold and that is when you start putting hits on these guys, they turn into a shell of themselves. And so, yeah, hopefully the Eagles can dominate at that position. Here's one area, cuz that really, really concerns me is not having the Kobe Dean, right? This is why, because the Rams are one of the highest teams in the league when it comes to play action. And they can do splits, and they use a lot of motion for second level defenders, and especially young guys. It's very, very hard to pick up the guys behind you when all of that action is going on. So not having the Kobe Dean in this game in particular is kind of frightening.
So let's start on the other ball for a second, because you opened with Barkley, and I just don't know what kind of adjustments that the Rams could make. Like, they crowded the line of scrimmage. I saw the film, and they're built to attack and harass passing offenses. I just don't know how, other than getting off of blocks against this massive Eagles front. Like, to me, the best thing the Eagles did all year long in training camp was get Becton, right? Mekhi Becton has made such a huge difference in that run game. I don't know how you stop Saquon.
Well, it's a lot easier on paper talking about it. You and I talking about it. But what happens is that it's not just about moving guys. It's about understanding what the Eagles are trying to do. If they come up with a new scheme where they're slanting toward looks that gashed them last time, there's multiple different ways to be able to stop the run. And now you have a game of looking at it to try to stop it. So the Eagles have to do a good job of coming up with new wrinkles or adjustments to have counters to what the Rams will see on film. And I'm pretty sure they will do that, because Stoutland is pretty aggressive. But here's the other thing. At some point, a team is going to say, you know what? I'm putting 8 men at the line of scrimmage the entire time. And Jalen, you got to go out and beat us. And here's the thing, Akilu Witherspoon, who, we know him well from the Niners, has the size to match up with AJ. Doesn't mean that he can't. He has the size, though. Kobe Durant, who wasn't, that much of a factor last game, is there now. And then you had Darius Woodman, who's a potential. We didn't have Devontae last time either. So there's the way to probably stop the Eagles is say, hey, you know what, Jalen, do it. You do it. We're not letting Saquon in the line do it. You do it.
Do you have just go all in on the RPO game and put Jalen back really into the run game? And because if you look at the only piece that the offense looked in rhythm last week was RPO play action tempo. They were able to kind of move the ball a little bit in that sense.
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of the RPO game because, and here's why, because I think it makes your offense stale at times. Rather than if you're going to go play action, just go play action. Just you don't necessarily need the RPO aspect of it. The reason I say that is because you start reaching and you start going on 3rd and 7, trying to throw a bubble screen or run back to the left or things like that, rather than just running standard offense. And we've seen how effective movement can be. Why can't Jalen be on the edge throwing a naked or a bootleg to the left or to the right, like we've seen with Tanner McKee or Kenny Pickett, and also play action off of those things. So I think play action is the key. And I don't understand why the Eagles aren't the most efficient and most powerful play action team in the league. It just doesn't make sense to me with a team that runs the ball as well as we do. It's the two are not married at the rate that it should be.
It always feels like Jalen's just not comfortable under center and then running that type of offense.
I don't know what it is, but I will say is that this past game, there's a little bit of Jalen, but there's a lot of Kellen Moore in that game as well. And I say that from this perspective because I don't know if it's Kellen Moore saying, well, this is what Jalen is good at, so we're going to try to do it this way, which kind of lessens his impact on the game.
Right.
Or if it's Jalen's inability at times. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to produce more than 131 yards of passing offense. Or the formula will be the 2023 Michigan Wolverines that just defense and run the ball, and we'll take it all the way to a national championship.
Yeah.
If that's what you're telling me we're going to be, then okay, let me get on train with that. But I don't know if A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert would agree with that.
Yeah. No, and your point is so on point. I just say, bleep it. This is what you are. Go stop me, man. Like I feel you, and I agree with you. Like I like, a more traditional play action, and this offense should be lethal. Work with that, but and the RPO game I never really liked, but it works with this offensive line with Saquon.
Yeah,
I mean, go ahead, try to stop me.
Go ahead and try to stop. So here's the thing: like last week against the Packers. The things that kind of frustrates me looking at the offense, from the first play to A.J. Brown, Carrington Valentine was playing him extremely tight. And he played everybody on that side the entire day extremely tight. And I'm like, one time are you guys going to challenge this guy down the field? He showed you on the first play what he was about the entire game. In order to loosen that up for the rest of the game, the second play, third play, next series should have been a shot down the field, whether it's a double move or just to run by the guy. They were doing it the entire game, and that just lets me know, like, dude, are we in tune to the game, or what are we doing? So things like that can get frustrating.
Jalen makes that throw. Like that's a throw that he makes. Like I don't understand why he didn't take any deep shots.
But I will say this: Jalen was excellent, and he failed on the second series when they were driving. They threw a zero blitz at him. He didn't recognize it. He had a long developing play, which was a screen to Saquon on. He didn't get out of that play. The next time they got in that situation on the fringe area with the red zone, they were like on the 24-yard line. The Packers did it again, and he checked to Dallas Goedert's touchdown run where he, beasted the cornerback all the way down the field, Valentine all the way down the field. So that was good. That was great. That was a great job by Jalen. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they'll do. Here's the thing, though. If we're going to be a defensive football team and we're going to just depend on the run, just let's do that, because our defense is going to continue continue to ball like that. We'll see if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. or Oren Burks will pick up the slack for Nakobe Dean. But we match up very well versus the Rams in the secondary. However, the Rams play hide and seek football. This is not line up toe to toe. Like, so I want our fans to really get that.
Yeah.
This is not a toe to toe. You line up outside the numbers and it's Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp versus DeJean, Darius Slay, and Cooper DeJean. This is not that. This is smoke and mirrors. This is a sucker punch. This is a bunch of things. So you can get beat in this scenario because of all the smoke and mirrors.
It's weird. And you're so right. Like, it's so true. Watching Cooper, I watched that film again from the 24th of November, and DeJean played Kupp. Like, Kupp does not look like himself. Either he's injured or he's lost a dramatic piece of his game. And Kupp dominated him in the middle. I mean, and Cooper DeJean took him out in the middle of the field a couple times. Like, he had no chance. And watching last week, he didn't do much either against Minnesota.
So Nakua has become the number one target. So the lion's share. So here's the thing with an offense like this. You can't cover up everyone, right? You can't give everyone motion, everyone the best split. So when you saw Cooper Kupp isolated in the slot, when he had his one-on-ones, when there was no, cut split, there was no ability to be able to motion into it or whatever it is, and it was one-on-one, Cooper DeJean dominated him. And that's what happens when you're not the primary target. You have to get open on your own a little bit more, and you can clearly see that he isn't recovered 100% from his injury. And Cooper, dominated them. But the lion's share of the offense is running through Higbee and Nakua.
Yeah.
Hey, James, I just want to touch on something you had mentioned where, like, all right, if running the ball works, do it. But you did mention about, like, AJ and Devontae. Is that something, as a former wide receiver, is that something long-term that is sustainable for you mentally as a wide receiver?
Right now, it's about one thing. The stats are already done, right? So the Pro Bowl has already been selected. The All-Pro has already been selected. There's only one goal left. There is only the Super Bowl left. So in this situation as a receiver, I wouldn't care. And I'm pretty sure that those guys don't care because their money has been made. The year is pretty much done statistically. Now it's just about the Super Bowl. So in this scenario, I don't think that those guys would care. Now, how going forward, yes, will they care? Because those are guys that have Pro Bowl potential, have, Hall of Fame potential. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guys with potential, but they play with quarterbacks that couldn't get in the ball. So you want to be around a guy that can match your energy as a player. And so Jalen is going to have to be able to spin it to these guys in order to keep the unity going. So that's just that. But now that they're in the situation that they're in, all stats don't matter at all. It's about winning the Super Bowl. And if you win a Super Bowl, everyone benefits from that.
Right.
Jace, take us into the mindset of a Rams player and having to deal with going displaced and playing on a short week in Arizona, not getting back to LA, right, until early Tuesday morning. You got to deal with all the distractions of the horrific fires. Short week, now travel across country to play in Philadelphia in what is going to be weather.
Yeah, this one's tough because I'm sure that there's, people, being, pulled at every corner because a lot of these guys are the family's money guy. When they're the contingencies plan, there's no, insurance that is able to respond that fast. So not only you, but everyone that is in your local area is depending on you, whether that be friend or family, to help them out in that situation. So I can only imagine all of the things that they have to do in order to get their family out of the way, but also people that are close to them. And if a guy is from that area, it's even worse, right? Because now you have extended family. So they're dealing with a lot right now. So I'm pretty sure that it's going to be tougher for them, especially with the jet lag and all the things that's going on. I'm pretty sure the Rams are doing a great job of keeping those guys around the facility as much as possible and trying to make it about the playoff game. But life experience and or life happens and nature happens. And I don't think that you can expect this team to be the most prepared for this game with all the stuff that they're going on.
Did you hate that? Did you hate that? Just the short week cross country travel playoff scenario. How much did you hate being off your routine?
One day doesn't matter that much.
Yeah.
One day doesn't matter. Monday, Sunday doesn't matter that much.
Kind of
The
blended
cross
to Tuesday, you know?
The cross the country, the stuff, though, is always tough.
Yeah.
I can count on, like, you can look at the records of the teams that have to travel across the 4 or 5 hours. It's just tough. It's tough to get up for that game, especially in this environment. And then you add snow to it with a team that's used to good weather. Like, there's a lot of things that are working in the Eagles' favor here. And the style of offense in bad weather. Like, there's so many different things that are working in the Eagles' favor for this game.
Hey, Jason, I was just doing research because we got the snow in the forecast, and I saw a quote from Torrey Smith who said that playing in the snow is fun as a kid. As a professional, it's trash. As a wide receiver, how would the snow impact? Were you a fan of it? Did you hate it? And what adjustments would you make?
So I would say as a receiver, it's tough. Rain, snow, it's just the style. Like, so the high school football, it was so beat in and the leather was different. When it would rain, it would soak into the ball and actually make it kind of tacky. So it was a lot easier to catch. But the pro football, that pigskin that they have, water hits it and it just turns into an ice, like an ice ball. So it's kind of tough to be able to maintain the same level of receiver play because it's a little bit tougher to catch the ball unless it's on your body. But away from your body catches, it's pretty tough. So you have to be prepared for that. And what you do in that scenario, normally your hands are about this far apart when you're catching the football. What you do when it's inclement weather, whether it be rain or snow, you put your thumbs together and you tighten your forearms along with your hands, and you got to anticipate the ball initially going through. So your hands are a lot tighter together, and most guys don't make those adjustments, and they don't do well in the rain. But I was taught that very early on in my college career about how to catch in the rain, and I don't know how many people even teach that. I know Andy Reid does, but not many coaches that I've ever had taught that besides, Andy and my college coach. So there's like little tricks to do, but running backs love the rain because usually, or rain or snow, because they usually can stop better than defensive line can. So Shady McCoy loved his snow game because he's the only one that had traction on the field.
I know you love that.
Dude,
Jason, give you
breaking
the
down
diamond.
their hands.
You got to give me the diamond, man. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Hey, I got to ask you about the other games. Just curious, because it's such a great weekend of football. How do you see Kansas City?
It's heaven for us.
Right? Like, it's awesome, man.
Yeah.
How about Kansas City and Houston?
Houston's a very good young team. Very good young team. Anderson's playing out of his mind. You have Stingley, who's, one of the top corners in the league. You got, CJ, who I've always believed in.
Yeah.
And Nico's been underrated. Michigan guy, been underrated for a long time, right? So they have a lot of damage to do, and they're a tough football team. Houston's a tough football team. Playing against the juggernaut mentally, though, it's a different thing. That team knows how to win, and despite the Pro Bowl and all of that stuff they come up with, the best player in football is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and he's going to be one of the best that ever do it for sure. And I trust them in those moments with a team that is not so familiar with those moments. So it's going to come down. It always comes down to a situational thing or a young guy making a bad decision, and the Chiefs usually benefit from that. So I think that may be the easiest game to call of the weekend.
I'm with you. And, Saturday night's fascinating because let's go to Michigan and go to Detroit because that, there's so much fun. But Jaden Daniels and the way Washington can control the ball, right? Like they win first down. They won first down all the time against Tampa, and they held the ball for 11 more minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they could do that against that Lions defense.
Here's the thing. He is lightning in the bottle.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels. And the thing that scares you more if you're a Lions fan is that Aaron Glenn dials up a lot of blitzes. And you know who is impervious to blitzing?
Yeah.
It's Jaden Daniels, because he will step right up and throw the ball deep. He's not just trying to hit a slant.
Yeah.
He's trying to make you pay for blitzing.
Yeah.
And so that right there can lead to a lot of problems for now. Can anybody stop the Lions offense?
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody can. With Ben Johnson calling plays, and the Lions have a unique ability that no other team in the league plays with. The Eagles have the ability to play like the Lions. They don't have the play caller to be able to play like the Lions.
Yes.
But here's the thing. They have the ability.
Yeah.
So the Lions offensively have a triangle in the middle of the field that can exploit matchups that are not familiar with coverage. So you have Sam Laporta, you got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got Amon-Ra St. Brown. Those three in the middle of the field are playing against lesser defenders all of the time. And they can isolate you, the linebackers, the safeties, those that are weak in coverage, and they can play the game that way, sort of like the Saints would do with Jimmy Graham and Darren Sproles, right? So they have that ability to do that. Same way with the Patriots when they had Cook and Gronk and those guys, Edelman and all those guys. So they have that ability to stay away from the outside. So that's scary for anything. But if it comes down to just stopping Jaden Daniels, I don't know if the Lions can do that.
No, I'm with you. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to watch that game. And then Sunday night's ridiculous. I mean, my God. I mean, Lamar and Josh Allen in Buffalo. Wow. I can't even tell you. I don't know. How do you even analyze that game?
I say this is that Buffalo better come with their lunch pail ready. Because if they're determined to run the ball with Derrick Henry, if they're just determined to do that.
Yes.
Testing one.
Yes. Yes.
1, 2, 3. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing.
We got some interference.
I don't know. Interference, Andrew? Yeah.
Yeah. No. That game is. I'm hoping that game goes down as like one of those all-time great games because Josh Allen is playing unbelievable, and I don't know if there's anybody in the league that has done more with less.
I know,
and that's why I would pick him this year to be the MVP. Because he's done more with less. Though Lamar's numbers are quote unquote better, Lamar has a supporting cast. Josh Allen's supporting cast is very, very minute in comparison to Lamar Jackson.
And then I can't believe this, but you're going to be a Notre Dame fan Monday night.
And I hate Notre Dame. I hate everything about Notre Dame.
I know, but I'm so with you.
But I'm hoping that Michigan has a watch party that has like Notre Dame at Chrysler Arena, the basketball stadium, just to hate on Ohio State.
I'm like, as much as Jason hates Notre Dame, he's got to root for him.
Yeah, listen. I'll be Irised out this week. Come Monday.
I just don't know how they can win. And that freaking Jeremiah Smith is unbelievable. That kid.
Here's a. I think Ohio State has the better team for sure. They have the best roster. Them and Oregon have the best rosters in football, in college football. So be tough for them to win. Here's the thing that we need to see. We need to see how Ohio State holds up against pressure. And the thing that Notre Dame does really well is turn the ball over. If you look at their season stats, to be able to turn the ball over 32 times is very, very impressive. So by far leading everyone, that Ohio State's played against. And then they have the ability on the back end to play man-to-man, and they do it at a very, very high level. So I don't know if Ohio State has had anyone that played man-to-man against them consistently throughout the game. But if you do it, just make sure you leave a safety over the top of Jeremiah Smith and let everybody else go. But we're going to see, because that type of a game plan kind of reminds me of like say you remember the Colts when they had Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison and Reggie Wayne. They would go up against the Patriots, and the Patriots would line toe to toe. Otis Smith, Ty Law, straight toe to toe with them. Everybody else would try to blanket it and play all of this zone and get killed. And then one team had the balls to just line it up. We'll see if Notre Dame has the ball or the balls are just foolish. So
it's a great comparison. And you know what's funny? And by the way, we continue on YouTube as always. What Chip Kelly's game plan against Michigan was fascinating, because it's almost like he and Ryan Day wanted to prove that they could be as physical as Michigan, and they couldn't. Do they lean into that?
They were idiots.
Right?
They were idiots. Like that, they were just idiotic. So there's no way that Michigan has a great defensive line.
Yes.
Like all time. Like they're like the dudes that are there now are like Mason Graham is going to be top 5 defensive.
Look what they did to Milroe and Alabama.
Yeah.
Right? I know it's a bowl game nobody watched, but they dominated the front, Alabama front.
And guess what? Our 4 draft picks, the first round picks, didn't play on defense. They didn't play. So like that's what we do is combat. Michigan is a combat type of a team. Quarterback has been, frustrating for us this year. So to do what they did and give into it, but Michigan was planting the seed the entire time. And I will say that they're calling them soft, calling them like they like to play the pretty boy football. Like they hurt, and they got in their brain. They got it.
That was awesome, man. That was fantastic.
So it was a game that was kind of won outside of the lines there.
Jace, we love you. Go ahead.
Can I ask, just because I got a little bit of facial hair, but man, your facial hair is on point. What does it take to maintain this? Do you do it yourself? Do you go to a place? How often?
I can't tell you how you get it done on air, buddy.
I'm looking for some tips. I look like I live at the docks with my facial hair.
It's heredity, I guess. I don't know.
You're the greatest, brother. So you're expecting Eagles win, though, right, on Sunday?
Oh, 100%. I think the Eagles are the most dominant football team as far as in this situation. Defensive pressure that Jalen Carter, because let me do this here. Milt Williams is playing just as good as any defensive tackle outside of Jalen Carter in this league, especially when it comes to pass rush. When it comes to pass rush, his win rate that he has in one-on-ones is unbelievable. And so that's what's making them even more potent, is that Jalen Carter has to be double, and Milt Williams can't be blocked in a single man. With the single man. So Milt Williams deserves a lot of credit too, because he is upholding his end of the bargain when Jalen Carter is being double teamed. So those two guys can dominate the football game. And when you can cover and limit explosives, you're doing great. So that's what our team does in the back end. They very rarely are they beat deep. They may give up a 5-yard play or 12-yard play, but they don't get run by that often. So our guys in the back end are doing a great job. And I will put my money on our defense. And even if our offense is able to give us 24 points, I think that'll be enough to win the game.
I love it. I love it. Well, you're the greatest, brother. You know how we feel. So we'll be bugging you before it's Eagles, Lions, and all your peeps in Michigan. It'll be a lot of fun. We love you, buddy.
It could be Eagles Commanders right here at the link.
We love that.
That would be fantastic. You're the greatest, brother. We love you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. You guys take it easy.
Here he is, the great Jason Avant.
Dude, he's so good.
Hey, right.
And the chat's blowing up. Everyone loves hearing him talk
Dude,
football.
I told you, this dude, nobody's better than him.
Nah, dude.
Listen,
so good. We're not exaggerating at all.
He's unreal, like second level. I swear to God, every time I tell him, I go, dude, what's your agent doing? Like, you have to be on a network. I mean, God, I'm blessed. I feel great that he's with us, and I love that he's local. But
the way he explains it,
like,
it's so easy to
I watch these
digest.
guys all like, I consume it all season long. There's nobody better than him, man.
No.
Like, he should be at the very least in a studio show, if not
at the least
doing. Like, I think he could be a great game day analyst.
Yeah, people him talking about his hands. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, just the way he breaks it, it's so easy to digest and you understand what he's saying. And it makes sense.
He's like a great
He's not yelling at you.
No, he's a great interpreter.
Yeah.
Right? He teaches you. He's an interpreter.
Yeah. He would have been a great teacher.
Yes. Yeah, he's special. When it comes to it. Frase, who was doing who was checking in?
I think it was TV Todd was checking his mic.
I thought that was Todd.
I had it muted, and I think he accidentally unmuted himself and was.
He can unmute himself. He can override you, or just unmute himself.
Well, yeah, he can override me.
I thought that was TV Todd.
Testing. This is Todd. She'll tell hello. Testing.
I thought that was TV Todd. Hey, we got to do our Rite Aid back in. No brain, right? Like, so we're good.
No brain today. No.
Okay, so brain. Do us a favor. With the brain, go back and check out Cuz's Corner. In fact, I will text the brain and see if there's anything new. But we went over the games, very deeply.
Yeah.
With time for our Rite Aid back in the day moment.
Yep, let's do it. Let's get to our Rite Aid.
We're going back. We're going back. We're going back in the day with Rite Aid. Yeah!
So we're going to go back to 2013.
I love
There's
it.
some good themes going on. We got snow. We got a dominant rushing attack. We got Matthew Stafford as quarterback. So let's take a look.
I don't know what else could possibly feel like a playoff game. I mean, two teams right in the mix, 27 degrees.
Pulls under center a bunch, hasn't been under center a bunch this season.
That was awesome, man. That game was a great game. I forgot how great that game was.
LaShawn put up 217 that game.
Yeah, that game was ridiculous.
Birds put up 478 yards of offense.
Yeah, you could. And you know what the crazy thing about that snow was, it wasn't forecasted. Like, it was like, hey, we're going to get like light snow.
Mm-hmm.
And then next thing you know, it just kept snowing and snowing and snowing. And it dumped, up over, what was it, like a foot of snow, 8 inches, 10 inches?
Yes.
It was crazy. It was wild.
I like that. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he's Vinny. The IQ Vinny says,
"Come on, Vinny, give us 3 to 5 during game day. Good game time.
That would be the best. I guess it's all about the
polar vortex.
Yeah,
it's coming in.
Yeah,
if it comes a little early, we might get a little more.
We might have to hit
I
out.
don't think it's the vortex because it's going to be all snow. I guess there's a light rain on Saturday, but everything it shows is that it's going to snow on Sunday. And it's all snow on Sunday.
Bring it on.
That would be...
Find a model. Get off the European models. Find a model that gives us 3 to 5. These European models, everyone's looking at them.
European models are great.
Yeah, that's what Baldy says.
Yeah, it's what Baldy says. I got to give a yo to my boy Tooch. He's like, so he has this on while he works, right? So he's on a call, so he freezes the show. And so the beauty of the show is like you can freeze the show and pick it up like whenever you got time. You go back, whatever, while you're doing your work. Yeah. And he goes, I'm on this call for like an hour. And I look up and I see Franny Films frozen on my screen. He goes, it makes me smile. How great is that? Thanks, Tooch. That's awesome, man. That's phenomenal. All right. Time now before we, because we'll come back to the Birds talk. But as always, our man on Fridays to give us something to watch. Although, man, it's going to be tough to squeeze in anything.
Tonight's the night. You got to squeeze it in tonight.
Yeah, tonight. You're right. Tonight is the night.
I was just looking at movie times.
Night.
Might have to do a little.
I actually got to bring this show up to him I love a new show.
Oh, all right.
I
can't wait to hear
absolutely
it.
love it. It's phenomenal.
Are there gangsters involved?
No.
Whoa,
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 Larry.
whoa.
It's a great, great show. TV time. Act like a man. You can't handle the truth.
It's time for TV time.
Good morning.
And he
Where is he?
disappeared. Where'd he go?
What are you two guys doing?
Where is he? I see. There he is.
There he is.
Oh, man.
What's going on tonight?
It looks like you the MC of Kneecap with that Adidas track jacket on.
Dude, that's so funny you said that. I was thinking Kneecap this morning when I put this on. I was like, it's either Kneecap or the Royal Tenenbaums. I wasn't sure.
Oh, yeah, good call. Yeah.
See, it's funny. I don't think Royal Town. I think sweatsuit. You know what I think?
Run DMC.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
My
Dude,
Yes.
where's my car?
Or
yes.
I think my own Passyunk Avenue tuxedos.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Todd, before you start, can I just tell you that I'm in absolute love with the show. I think the show is ridiculously good. I'm 4 episodes in, and I just said, let's watch it. Is Landman.
Wow, you like that? I'm surprised.
I love it.
Uh-oh.
You don't like it?
Oh.
Well, I'm not a Taylor Sheridan. Like those shows all seem the same to me. They're all running together to me. That's why I actually didn't think you would love it. It's fantastic.
You know why I love it? Because of Billy Bob Thornton. He's unbelievable. He's so good. I just can't get enough of Billy Bob Thornton. I love the character. I love the world. I don't know anything about that world, so I'm interested in the world.
Is this like this same guy who did Yellowstone? It looks got a Yellowstone look from just looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. He's done all those shows that are on Paramount Plus.
Yeah, I'm usually not a CBS drama guy, but it's Billy Bob Thornton, man. I just think it's Billy Bob Thornton, and I don't know anything about that world, so I'm compelled by it. Now, I'm like 3.5. I think when I fell asleep last night, the 4th episode. So I'm 3 episodes in. I don't know. Maybe I'll grow tired of it, but I like it.
That's great. That's great. There's a lot of good shows.
He just gave you a good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
He's got
That's
no
great.
interest in
That's
it.
great. Nah, he is hard out on
now
this.
I saw the
He's trying to be nice.
Now I watched the madness.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest with you.
The only,
I love that it's Philadelphia.
That's why you watch it.
And I love that it was, I love they went to a luncheonette and they had an everything John cheesesteak.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the writing is and the premise is interesting.
It
but
is,
the writing is
I'm
horrific.
so out on these like chase or people on the run. They
The
just
ri-
go,
the
"Oh, how
writing's
long
like-
can you run?"
The writing's ridiculous.
I didn't love it.
It's like silly.
Well, I watched the whole series now, and I have to say, I think it's 3 episodes too long.
I can see that.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I just think it's, it's almost preposterous. Some of the things that happened that, I'm a suspend disbelief kind of guy, but come on, like some is like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but this is a big week, Anthony. I mean, I know we got, this is football all Saturday.
You're going in and out. Why is this?
Right?
Okay.
Is my audio
Yeah,
okay?
you're going in and out. I'm sorry. Yeah. So you got a great. So because here's the thing, I'm kind of getting frustrated with series, right? I started the agency, and I can't. I don't know. I can't get through it.
Yeah. Do you watch Severance?
No.
Severance is fantastic, and it's
Yeah.
back tonight. It's back tonight, and it is one of the best shows on television. Ben Stiller, amazing director.
Something's up with your audio.
He's back.
Todd.
I want to hop out and back in, maybe.
Maybe try reconnecting for us.
Reconnect, Brad, Todd, because we got. Yeah, it's not working. TV Todd.
Okay, how about now?
Yes, now it's working.
Is this better? Clearer?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us about Severance.
So Severance is fantastic. To me, it's one of the best shows on television. Ben Stiller directs it. It is a really quirky mystery set in this company where every time you go to work, you are sort of programmed in a way that when you leave work, you have no
forget.
idea.
Yeah.
You forget. And it is really good. And did you see the promotion that they just did in Grand Central the other day?
No.
Yes,
No.
I did.
How cool is that, Frazier? In the middle of Grand Central, they did a pop-up display where they set up the entire work cubicle. All the actors were in there working for like 2 hours, and Ben Stiller was actually there taking pictures. It was super cool.
Ah, that's awesome. That's great promotion. That's genius.
Yeah. It's a really good show. And I have to tell you, like VG knows this. It is very hard for me to talk about television and film today with the passing of David Lynch.
Yes.
I
was going to bring that up to you later. I mean,
brutal. This is gut wrenching. You know, like when you even just talking about a show like Severance, whenever I mention a quirky character,
you think
David Lynch. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think David Lynch generally, very few people in this business actually alter the landscape forever.
Changed it.
And he changed it forever. You know, there's a term called Lynchian.
Films, man. My God, the dialogue, the way it's shot, the surrealism, like
the surrealism, the fact that he took, suburbia or a small town and showed you the macabre or the dark side of it. I mean, and listen, he's the first one that did the premise of small town, there's a murder and everyone's got to figure it out. I mean, that he changed the landscape forever. And the outpouring of people and celebrities and actors and directors, Francis Ford Coppola, everybody shows you this guy will be missed.
Oh, he was.
Hey, I don't know if you've ever heard his story about George Lucas wanted him to do Return of the Jedi. And he had no interest in it, but he was like, he respected George because both of them just followed their passions. He's like, oh, George made hundreds of millions more than I did, so I figured I'd talk to him. So he went to George's ranch or whatever, and George showed him the Wookiees that were going to be involved or whatever. And Lynch was like, I can't work with these Wookiees. So he called his agent or manager, and they're like, you're turning down like $100 million. And he's like, I can't do it with those creatures.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great story, VG, to underscore the fact that he always stuck to his beliefs artistically. I mean, when he did the reboot of Twin Peaks on Showtime, I mean, I don't know if your audience knows this. It was an 18-hour episode reboot and he had complete final cut control. He could take no executive notes. So if you want to watch David Lynch in pure David Lynch perfect form, 18 hours on Showtime, and I'm telling you, I would watch another 18 more.
Dude, I loved it. I thought the reboot was great. I really enjoyed it.
Also, it was the Ewoks, not the Wookiees.
Well, he says Wookiees, so that's what he called them. If you find that interview, that's what he called them. I actually saw him talk once. People were like, oh, ask him about his influences, and because he's so avant-garde and different than everyone else. They're like, what do you watch? What's your favorite movie? And he said, I don't watch movies. I make movies. He had no reference point for like anything modern or anything going on in film. He didn't care what anyone was doing.
That's what I love about him. I love the fact that he was so he was true to himself, his beliefs, that he didn't care what anybody else was doing. I love someone artistically that doesn't care about other people and doesn't care about pop culture and doesn't want to dive into that. They just march to their own beat. Yeah. I so respect that.
It's hard to do.
And there's so few that do it. So many talk the talk and they don't walk it, right? I mean, he really did, turning down tons of money, tons of great projects. He has this theory, always had this theory that the best ideas for television and film are not like watching somebody else's and building off of it. The ideas are out there. And this was his famous phrase, you have to catch them. You have to sit. And his thing was to have a cigarette, have a cup of coffee, have some pie, sit there and think and catch that idea. Catch that idea. I mean, he does a masterclass on filmmaking as part of the masterclass platform, the app and the website. I recommend for any of your viewers that are interested in film or filmmaking to watch it. It's really incredible. But I'm devastated, as is most people in this community. It's going to be a great loss for sure.
The Kyle MacLachlan post was like, it's hard not to like shed a tear reading what Kyle MacLachlan wrote.
Oh, Isabella Rossellini, Naomi Watts, everybody. It's big loss. And I felt it coming. He had been posting about emphysema and that he couldn't walk anymore. And I thought,
he
boy.
talked about his smoking and it's hard. And, the whole thing. And you could see creatively how, the cigarette, like that was a big part of him,
He would talk about it, that it's a huge part of any artist. To sit there with a cigarette and a cup of coffee is really what an artist is.
Yeah, he was unapologetic. He said he loved smoking, and he probably wouldn't have given it up, even though, and at the end where he was, he enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, listen, he forever changed the landscape. Every time there's a quirky character, we're going to reference David Lynch. I mean, even last week or 2 weeks ago, I texted Andrew and I said, watch the movie Cuckoo. It's like a very David Lynch type movie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a reference point. He's been a reference point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Twin Peaks reference. Mulholland Drive was a reference point. That's how you would describe something.
And Mulholland Drive was a referendum on the Hollywood industry, on how we churn people out, these small town people who have big dreams. So I mean, he amazing.
Oh,
But listen,
Robert Blake in Lost Highway.
Yeah.
Oh man,
dude, don't even get me started on Lost Highway.
Oh my God.
Do you know that Lost Highway? Do you know this? He came out years later, David Lynch, and he said that Lost Highway was. He realizes that he created that entire film based on the OJ trial.
Yes, I read that. Yes.
Yeah, and of course, it's about a husband who's accused of murdering his wife. And interestingly enough, we all know what happened to Robert Blake after that movie was made.
Crazy, right?
Yes. Nuts.
Well, listen, I could go on and on. I said to VG, we need to do a whole show just on David Lynch. Like, it's just great.
What we're going to do is we're going to spin this off. Once we get through football and everything else, we're gonna go a little bit longer and kind of spin this off a little bit. Into a weekly.
That'd be great. And also, listen, let me not leave without telling you a couple things that are out for people to watch tonight. Tonight's a good theater night. If everyone's willing to go to the theater, you got. I just saw this and it blew me away. The Brutalist.
Yes.
The Brutalist with Adrian Brody.
It is. I can't wait.
You sat through it 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
I love that.
There's an intermission built in.
Yeah.
250.
That's my favorite. I can't wait to see it. I saw it featured on CBS Sunday Morning. I'm a big Adrian Brody fan. Like he's one of these people that is built to play I love stories that take place period pieces.
Yeah,
and he's built for that.
One of the best actors of our generation, hands down. And let me tell you something.
Too. He's unbelievable.
Yeah, the film is 215 minutes.
Yeah,
and as Andrew said, there is a 15-minute intermission in there, which was so cool to me because the last movie I remember with an actual intermission was Scarface, back in the day.
I saw Hamlet. Hamlet with Richard Branagh had an intermission in it.
Best of Youth, I told you about that. Best of Youth had an intermission that was over 5, and that was that was over 5 hours, 5 hours and 45 minutes. Some ridiculous.
That is so
runtime. Maybe he was, and I saw it at the Ritz. Tam and I saw it at the Ritz.
It's great. I mean, intermission is something that was very popular back in the day when Ben-Hur was out.
I love it.
Oh my God.
Like
it was great.
You stretch, you talk about it. Because I love the mid-talk. One of the things I love about sports, too, is like halftime, where you talk about the game a little bit. You kind of digest it.
Absolutely. You get. I got I went to the bathroom. I got I got some pretzel bites for the second half.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's the best.
Fantastic. So that's in the theater. Andrew is probably going to love that the Wolfman comes out today. The Wolfman. You like the Wolfman, Andrew?
I can get down with the Wolfman. Yeah, I can get down with that. It looks pretty
It's
good.
great. It does look really good. Julia Garner stars in it from Ozark. I'm going to check it out this weekend for sure.
What else? I'm out on the
Blake
Wolfman.
and his family are
Clearly.
attacked by an unseen animal.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw the
I'm out on
trailers
that
on
too.
it. I mean, whatever. Listen. I don't know. Maybe it's good. What
You
else
got
you got?
two good documentaries to watch at home this weekend. You got the Jerry Springer documentary, which is really good, very fascinating about how the producers sort of worked that show and how they crumbled and freaked out. It's fantastic, the pressure of that show. And then Saturday Night Live, because it's the 50th anniversary, just released today on Peacock a 4-part documentary, the behind the scenes, how they pitch stories, all kinds of stuff.
down
So
with that.
I'm loving that. So I'm going to get into that. And then lastly, I'll leave you with this. 2 great indie-ish movies that were released today on Hulu and on Max. One is A Real Pain. Jesse Eisenberg directed it. It just won the Golden Globe.
Yeah.
2 cousins traveling through Poland.
Yeah.
I
I saw a thing on that. Look, I want to see that. It looks great.
Yeah, the other one just came out today. A lot of people are kind of excited for A Different Man with Sebastian Stan, where in real life there's a guy who suffers from a very tragic skin disease where he has a lot of tumors on his face. He's, hearkening back to like David Lynch. It's a very Elephant Man-ish disease, sadly.
Yeah.
And he's in it. The real guy's in it.
Yeah.
And Sebastian Stan plays him as an actor who decides to a controversial procedure to become Sebastian Stan. And the film is getting amazing reviews, and he's winning all kinds of awards. So those 2 films are really good, and they're shorter. You can get them in tonight for sure.
All right, give me the 5 best series going on right now per TV Todd.
Oh wow, I'm not even sure I can do that. Severance for sure. I don't even know. I'd have to look back at my notes to see what I'm watching. I don't even know.
Island,
No.
Traders. The new episode of Traders is all out now.
I love Traders. I watched the first 2 episodes with my daughter the other night. That is hands down the best game show series out there. So much fun.
Agree.
So much fun.
Did you do the American Prime Evil yet? That's on Netflix. Have you seen that or
No.
heard anything about that?
No. What is it about?
It's like a Western-esque type show. It's a limited series. I don't know too much about it, but it looks like
He might be he's a landman over here.
like the
Western
travel out. I
Anthony
think
might
it's
be
like
into
I
it.
think it's kind of like travel out
I
west. and the
love Billy Bob
hardships.
Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton, I'm just a big fan. I like it's a good character, and he's great.
Yeah, he is
I
great.
just I like the acting.
Yeah.
Is Rebecca Ferguson in that one too?
Yeah.
The star of Silo?
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool. Listen, everybody keep watching my series. You're keeping it in the top 10. That's what I want.
Amen, brother. Amen. We got lots to do. We're going to do a big special Academy Award special. We got all kinds of stuff.
Nice.
Ooh, I like that.
That we're going to do. And then I'm working on an idea where the 4 of us take everybody to the movies.
All right.
Oh,
yeah.
that'd be fun.
Love it.
All right.
Sounds great. That sounds
Yeah.
great. I like to come. I'll come down for all that.
Well, you have to. No, I'm
All
saying
right. I'm in. I'm
the
in.
4 of us. You're the 4th. You're the lead guy. You're the
Yeah,
headline.
there wasn't an option in that.
All right. It wasn't like I'll come down for. No, you have to be here. We may even get a bar that we go to before or after, depending on the time. I guess we'll do a matinee movie and then we'll go talk about the movie afterwards. So it'll be a day with Todd and the crew, TV Todd and the crew.
That sounds a lot of fun. Should we use VG's football rating system and do it by gummies, by number of gummies?
No, I hate that, but I like it for the comedic aspect of it. But to me, it's a blight on the game. You should never watch football impaired. But you shouldn't drive impaired, and you shouldn't watch football
Wait,
impaired.
someone in the chat like to sit back and watch the game with some old fashions. You're not down with that either?
You're not getting Don't get wasted.
Yeah, what if you wanted like a nice cold beer? You know?
No one's saying a 50 milligram gummy. It's just a nice take the edge off. Jesus. All right, Dad.
Yeah, you do all you want. Call me that all you want. It's football. Serious.
Serious.
Todd, I love you, Todd.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Go Birds!
Go Birds. Yo, what about the Flyers, man? 500.
Oh, dude, they're
Beat
so
the
fun.
Isles.
Did you see last night, man? I
Yeah.
thought this team was going to crumble after the first period and the whole
Yeah.
hit to Ryan Poehling.
Yeah.
The fact that they composed themselves in that locker room and came out and destroyed the Islanders, I enjoyed every moment of it.
Yeah. You know who's a big Islander fan? Somebody
that?
you know. That only you
Oh,
and I know.
no. Oh, no. Who?
Joe College.
Come on. That's a violation.
I texted
Violation.
him- I texted him. He was a friend of ours from New York. And
Is that his real last name, Joe College?
no,
Oh,
no,
all right.
no.
I was like,
That's our nickname that we gave
oh, okay.
to Harvard Joe. He went to Harvard. And so I texted him last night. He has somebody for the project, by the way. So
Sure. Yeah, sure he does.
Todd. You're the man, buddy. I'll call
See you
later.
guys.
See you,
you,
Todd.
All
buddy.
right, good.
There he is, Todd. We love TV Todd.
Yeah.
We'll do a whole day for the movies,
Love it.
right?
Love it.
It'll be fun. Todd's the best. I know that sound. It's a playoff game. It's a monster.
Here he comes.
It's the
Here he
one,
comes.
the only, Black Gritty.
Hey guys, first of all, VG Andrew, cuz love you guys so much. Todd's series, that joint is crazy. If you ain't got, go get HBO for like a week, a month. Go get the trial and go watch that thing. That thing had me on the edge of my seat, and I'm already preloaded up for the backup
We
series
talking about
that's coming out.
Sevens?
No. His Todd series on
Todd
HBO.
Yes.
Yeah, that man.
Yes.
I want to know what everybody that little girl was like 90. I don't know what's going on. That thing-
Oh, yeah, dude, that is crazy. I watched
Oh.
the first two seasons. Crazy.
Yeah. No, it's a
it
great
is. It
series.
is.
She's
It
90.
is so good.
Yeah, Natalia.
It is so good.
No, the curious case of Natalia Grace.
Yeah.
Now in season 3.
The Flyers, unlike the Sixers, bring you joy and hope and happiness. Just watch it and enjoy. Don't get up, don't get down. Watch the games, watch the youth, and Torch is out there doing his thing. A grumpy old man that tells you the truth. In the land of Philadelphia, you gotta respect the coach that just comes out and gives it to you straight every single night, win or lose. Watch the Flyers and enjoy yourself.
Yeah,
Secondly,
that's a great way to put it. The Flyers bring you joy. The Sixers bring you angst.
yes.
Except for poor Maxey. I'm watching Maxey, and he's got no help. I watch every game still because I'm a lunatic, and I'm watching Maxey and Black Gritty. I feel like I'm watching Iverson. Like he's the only one on the floor, right? And he's the only one that can generate shots. Even with Paul George, he's the only one. Like he has to shoot 13 for 32. The AI was at the game the other night against the Knicks, and I'm watching Tyrese, and he's pulling an AI.
And Maxey's light has always shined at like 150%. He's always got a smile on his face.
I love him, yeah.
Everything's going. He's right. He's like 50% right now because he has lost so much light in his eyes, so much joy in his heart,
man,
and it's just hard to watch.
I feel bad for him. I do.
It's rough. It's rough. So before I get started too, cuz when you get the text message, just go ahead and approve that for me. I'm ordering a Primo's tray, and I told him I'll put it on Cousins tab. So you know what I mean? When you see that junk come through for your boy on Sunday, just take care of that for me. I appreciate
approve.
you, family.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Now let me go get my
By
business
the way,
going.
I love the getup. You look like a character from Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, it's nice I got hair. I mean, you know how it is. I've been bald for a long time, so this makes me feel good about myself.
With that. You look good. You look good.
So let me get myself
You
together.
look like a pirate.
All right, let's get down to business, cuz. Last week, everything I said came true. Call me Gritty Damas, okay? Go check the tape. We are going to destroy the LA Rams. You're worried about Kellen Moore interviewing? I'm not. Here's the game plan. Run Saquon right, run Saquon left, run him up the middle, and maybe toss it to him a couple of times. Jalen Hurts, all he does is win. I'm not worried about the game plan. You can interview the guy all you want to. And the narrative, cuz. They keep talking to me about the narrative. Well, let me tell you something. I feel bad for him. I understand everything that's going on, but Morgan Freeman isn't walking through the door of Philadelphia and the link to give me a narrative story. What's going to happen is you're going to come here and get beat down, all right? The defense is going to handle business. Carter's going to open up the center, and you're going to see Axeman Jr. come through and hit a nice tackle. And when he goes and put that axe into the ground, watch your television. The snow for 30 seconds will rise from the ground and flow back to the heavens because the stadium will be so loud, it'll be earthquaking in that piece. I'm not worried about anything with this game. You're coming out here to Philadelphia to get lit up. Cooper Kupp, call him Cooper Pup. I got Cooper DeJean. I ain't worried about that. The dude ain't played well in a long time. You keep talking about a whole Triple Crown. We'll put the horse out the pasture because we're about to light him up. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail, the Eagles will not fail. Go Birds!
Black Gritty never fails. Rain, snow, sleet, or hail, the Eagles will not fail. Neither does Black Gritty. He is the greatest.
He brings it every week.
He does. He's the best. Make sure you watch Cheap Seats. Always fun.
Yeah. Wednesday nights.
All right. Here we go. And not just Wednesday night. You can catch it.
You catch it whenever you're on. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Just like the Brain. The Brain, by the way, gave us some props. The Brain takes all the overs in receiving yards for the Bills.
All of them?
Coleman, Hollins, Kincaid, Cooper.
What?
And Josh Allen over passing yards.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
And then you can
Were
check
they all
out,
like 10 yards each?
I don't know. You can check out all the stuff on Cousins Corner. Watch that. It only gives you all those picks. All right, buddy. What do you think?
All right.
That time.
Well, I mean, come on now. There's going to be a lot of factors here that I think favor the Eagles. Obviously, the weather's going to be one of them. I think it's going to be...
Put yourself up.
All right.
Put yourself up.
I'll put myself up.
You know,
All
you're going
right.
to give you your prediction.
Got my Eagles hat
People
on.
should see you.
Good color, no brown.
Actually, it's a good color.
Great hat.
I like the sweatshirt.
Yeah, thank you.
I like everything about today.
Appreciate it. So I'm going. Here it is. 28-17 Birds.
Man, I'm not that far off from them. That's more
Really?
Yeah. I'm at 24-17.
24-17.
Mm-hmm. Think they cover.
Joey, what do you got? The Mr. Skateboard.
Mr. Thrasher.
The Thrasher.
I'm pretty close with both VG and Andrew. I think it's going to be like, I don't think it's going to be a lot of scoring. I think it's going to be like 22 to like 16.
22-16. You're at 24-17.
Yep.
God. I'm at 34.
Ooh.
Oh.
Whoa.
Hello. Wow.
Whoa.
34 what?
Yeah, 34 what?
10.
Oh!
Wow. Man, I hope so. Woo.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't know. That's what came over me.
Wow. I like that.
Man.
I'll take that.
I think it's Route City.
Woo.
Hey, you were close last week, so.
I think it's a route.
Man, I hope you're
I
right.
think it's a route.
I'll take the route.
I can see I just think they're going to score. I don't know why. It should be an under, weather, or everything else, but I think they're going to score. And I just don't believe in the Rams.
Saquon too?
I think Saquon. I think, everything. I think Jalen. Jalen runs, throws. I think he has a good game. I don't know. I just feel it. I just feel it.
All right.
I don't know.
Oh,
Good.
I like that,
I'm
man.
afraid
Yeah,
that I
man.
feel like that.
I hope you're right. I'll
So
be
do
nice
I.
and relaxed for that second game.
You don't need a gummy now.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for us, everybody. Always a fun. We love our Fridays hanging out with you. We love our everyday hanging out with you. So enjoy the weekend. Enjoy all the football, the Holy Quintet. We'll be back Monday to talk about the NFC Championship game. Have a great day, everybody. We love you. Safe weekend.
Go Birds.
We all silly like the mayor.